Good morning and welcome to Midnight's Edge in the Morning. My name is Tom Connors. With me as always is the boss man, Andre.
Greetings, everyone. Thanks for joining us today.
I know we look a little thin. Unfortunately, or fortunately for him at least, our guest today had a emergency he had to deal with, or at least I would say, how do we put it? He had to deal with work. So we lost him, but fortunately for him, he's busy doing some work. So yeah, you're stuck with us.
Yeah, so but of course there's worse people that you could be stuck with, and maybe if we're lucky someone will pop in over the course of today. Otherwise, and the Donkeysaurus Rex says, "Hope the guest is okay." Yes, the guest is okay. When it's actual work that gets in the way, then that's kind of a luxury problem, isn't it? So all is good and well. Yeah,
happy for him that he had some work come up, but unfortunately for us, that leaves us guestless. If I could talk this morning. And of course, Script Doctor is also busy this morning. So we'll have to see, like you said, who pops in. But Roger Haynes sent us a super sticker already. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. And we have a pretty decent group of people following us already. Martin Steinpatz says, choosing between the inauguration or Midnight's Edge wasn't hard. Andre and Tom all the way. Oh, well, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. And we have some other people joining us. We have Natasha Cloutier, our ever royal wrench. So thanks for being with us here today. We have Spider Unlimited here, who says, thanks, guys, for the entertainment. It's a pleasure to have you watching us. And Cosmic Squirrel is here. Hail Muhammad is here, and he refers to us as the dynamic duo, so that's pretty nice. And we have Cellardor AU, who wonders who was to be the guest. Well, that was to be someone who's a working professional. So he'll be joining us once opportunity permits. Alexander Vidakovic is here, so represent Republika Srpska, and we have quite a good following. We also have Sultan Al Fahim here, so greetings to you and everyone else that I wasn't able to give personal greetings to. Speaking of personal greetings. We also have to give a birthday celebration, because today marks, we're not going to be like Star Wars that forgot about Darth Vader. Imagine that. But someone else who is a celebrity actually has birthday today on January 20th, namely Tom Baker, who some of you will know, of course, as the Fourth Doctor, aka the Definitive Doctor. So he's 87 today, so congratulations with that.
If we're the dynamic duo I call Batman, dibs on Batman. That makes you Robin, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, well, I'll just have to deal with it.
Yeah, you gotta wear tights.
Yeah. Andre in tights. Yeah, that would be fun. And
Master cameo this morning. There you go.
Yeah, and Master Clockwork says, you all know that EVS is streaming right now.
No, I didn't, because we always stream
I didn't.
this time, but
yeah, but we always stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at this time, no matter what else is happening. So we were here on Christmas Day, we're here on New Year's Day, and
we appreciate the super chat. But as Gary will remind you, we just love it when somebody lets the audience know that somebody else is streaming, especially in a super chat. AKA, no, we don't like that.
Yeah. But anyway,
but we're glad to have you here, though. Thank you.
Yeah. And EVS is most welcome to stream, but we call dibs on the time. So if he wants to stream now, then by all means. Willie Woodward says
the topic of conversation will be much different, probably, considering the day.
Probably.
So for those who want to get away from all the news, in quotations, here you are. We'll get away from all the political news today.
Exactly. Like we really try to stay non-political, and that's what we're going to do here today as well. Willie Woodward says, "Hey, Midnight's Edge, it's nice to have the brains and the heart of ME here." Oh, thank you. I wonder which is which. And I believe I saw. Oh yeah, and we also have. Where was it? Jumping back and forth there, so it's difficult to see. Oh yeah, and we have who sends us a $10 super chat saying, "Hi gents, oh well, hi, we missed you on Monday, so we're good to see you back again." Yeah, and with that, oh yeah, and Laner's Mind says Tom Baker, the only Doctor. Yeah, that's what I've heard too. I've never really been into Doctor Who myself, but of course I've done like some research, so I haven't really seen much. But I know some of the theory behind, and that theory says that yes, Tom Baker is indeed the only Doctor, the only real one, the Doctor, the definite article, one might say, or however the quote was. So yeah.
And then Spider Unlimited asks if there's any news or updates on HBO doing the sequel series to the Batman the animated series. Well, we did talk a little bit about that on Midnight's Edge After Dark last night, but I'm sure that'll come up today. What we know now is pretty much the same thing, though, is that it's been rumored, and rumored is the word, but we'll get into probably more of the logistics. But I would put some stock into it because of the people that rumored it were Mark Bernardin and Kevin Smith. And even though Kevin Smith has taken others to task for reporting on rumors, he did so himself. So we'll just put it that way. So yeah, I would say there's a good chance of it happening, but I would not expect any real movement or any look at it or idea what's going on for at least a couple months. And the show probably won't be done for at least another year or two, at least. Since it's animated, it does take a little longer. And I'm assuming they're going to try and emulate the original show. So that would be the plan, I would assume. I'm assuming here. So unless you know anything else, Andre, that's all I know.
No, I don't know anything other than that it's in some kind of or some stage of development, but exactly which stage I do not know. I don't. So we'll just have to wait and see. We'll just have to wait and see, and then we learn from there. And Roger Haynes says, "I'm not really into Doctor Who either, but I do wear my Tom Baker scarf quite regularly."
Oh, there you go.
Yes, yeah, like because Tom Baker's the Doctor, Fourth Doctor, for those who do not know, he was the one that had the ridiculously long scarf. And the reason for that is that the producer, apparently, like I may get the detail wrong, but apparently the producer gave like the prop lady like a whole selection of like what's it called, like threads that you use to knit with,
swatches or whatever to choose from.
Yeah, exactly. And the intention was here, like pick and choose, make something nice. But she made a scarf of all of them, so it was like something ridiculous long, like I don't know, like the length of several adult men on line.
I remember,
yeah.
So, that's probably the most. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of not that I don't like it or anything. I just never got into it. But that's the memory that stands out of that Doctor to me as well. And then Patrick Mulligan sends us $2 Canadian. Says, "Looking forward to more Bond with Tom. From Russia with Love, fuck the world." Or For the Win, one of the two. I've learned that could mean For the Win now. I always thought it was Fuck the World.
What, really?
Yeah, that's always the one.
No, it's For the World, For the Win.
Well, there was a movie back in the day called FTW, and it meant Fuck the World. So, anyway,
yeah,
I've been trying to talk to Robert about trying to reschedule and get us back on track with Bond. I know he's been a little extra busy with a few things in the background right now, so it's been difficult.
Yeah, like Tango Shalom.
Tango Shalom has been a big one
of his feature. So that obviously, but we'll get back. We'll get back into that before long. We absolutely will.
Yeah, and again, I'm just learning about For the Win. I guess I'm a boomer on that one. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Oh, and Black Phoenix pointed out that yawn is what you're
Oh,
thinking of,
yarn.
Andre.
Okay.
Yes, yawn. That's exactly. I remembered the
Gotcha.
Norwegian word for it, which is actually gone. So it's.
Oh, well, you should have said that. I could have been like, oh, you probably mean yarn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. So.
It was
Yeah.
old school, original, like geek talk. Okay. Like I'm an old school nerd. I'm not hip. I'm not with it anymore. All these new words the kids come up with, I don't understand. So new. Yeah. That's a good yarn. That's what Woodrow says. All right. Well, yeah, there's this article that you wanted us to talk about this morning, but I can't bring it up because it's behind a paywall.
All right. Well, the article is in the Los Angeles Times, but it's referenced in TV Rev. So I'll send you that then, and then we can still talk about it a little bit, because this all has to do with the streaming wars, which, of course, is something that we have been covering for how many years now? 3?
Shit,
4?
at least. Because when did we put out the video with
Bill Hunt?
Yeah, it would have been at least 3 years now, because it was 2017.
Yeah.
So I think it was just before The Last Jedi came out.
Yeah, anyway, that video right there, I think that was prophetic in many, many ways, because it was a video that kind of predicted exactly what we're seeing right now, with everything that was going to happen with the streaming services and with the streaming wars, and how that would be played out, and how our genre content would be used basically as chess pieces and sacrificed like pawns. And speaking of pawn, welcome, Rob.
Oh yeah, thanks. I gotta get my stupid. Oh, that's it. Fuck this. I gotta get another pop filter. This thing won't stay in place.
Oh, is the screw? Check the. It might be the screw.
No, it's not. It's the gooseneck.
Oh yeah. Yeah, just see if it's not too late. Just send it back.
Well, no, I got it on eBay. You know, $8. There's $8. I'm not getting back.
So. Probably not. Well, give them a bad rating. There you go.
That's all. All right. Well, what are we talking about?
Well,
franchises are what stops churn for streaming. Oh, about people subscribing and unsubscribing.
Yeah. Well, we touched on this story last night. The LA Times version. So, but yeah, we're talking about the streaming wars again.
Yeah, indeed, because we've been covering it for quite some time, and it's a near and dear subject. And the thing, because I'll just go through the highlights of the story, because it's actually really, really basic. Everything is fairly okay for Netflix. Yeah, they're in debt up over their ears. But as long as they can pay that debt, then it's kind of like fine. The thing is that their subscription base is relatively stable. And Amazon isn't so much affected because their business model is completely different. But for everyone else, like Disney Plus, like HBO Max, like Apple, like everyone else that isn't even worthy of mentioning,
Paramount.
The issue for that CBS All Access, soon to be rebranded into Paramount Plus. Again, they're not even mentioned in this article.
Which can I say something real quick for those who said that we were lying about that? In the words of Dark Helmet, told you.
Tom called it what, a year and a half ago.
Yeah. It was not like they were really hiding it, but there was a lot of people who were like, "Oh no, CBS All Access will still be its own thing," and blah blah blah.
No.
Yeah, no. That failure is to be absorbed into something else. So that's like one of the final pieces of the legacy of Leslie Moonves wiped away as a failure.
I think that's part of the reason why Discovery has been under such a weird. I don't think it's going to be on Netflix next year. I think it's going to be on Paramount Plus. Like that part, I could be wrong.
Well, is Paramount Plus going to be a global? Is going to be a global thing, or is it going to be just in the U.S.?
No, that's going to be a global thing.
Okay.
CBS All Access is a U.S. only.
Yeah.
Whereas
well, no, actually, they had
Plus will be global.
They had branched out into Australia, from what I read. I mean, they were starting to make some inroads, but it was, whatever. Listen, I'm not disparaging Australia. We love Australia,
Yeah, I was
but
about to say, with all love to Australia, CBS All Access in Australia, big whoop.
That's like in Spinal Tap, we're not going to be saturating the New York market. Now Philadelphia, now that's a real rock and roll town. Oh, yeah. Philly's great, yeah.
It's not a real big college town. I didn't do I fucking knew it. I gave it a rest for this week. We'll do it next time.
What the Spinal Tap references?
No. The I fucking knew it.
The Walton Goggins reference.
It was Boston. They were talking about Boston.
Yeah, Boston's not a big college town. That's the one.
Yeah. I wouldn't worry about it. But anyway. Yeah, like I said, with much love to Australia, but CBS All Access, I mean, really, that's a curse. You're getting. We're inflicting CBS All Access upon you. That's not exactly a big plus there. So
yeah, hardly.
No, well, basically
the Paramount Plus.
The gist of this entire thing, though, is basically what we've said for a while. What's going to happen outside of the piracy? You're going to have a lot of people that are just going to be hopping between different services.
Yeah.
And, they'll probably keep Netflix as a norm or Disney Plus as a norm, and then they'll hop on to something else. And that's probably what most people would do. But I think in the end of this, I know, just not to jump too far ahead into this, still right now, it looks like Disney and Netflix and Amazon are going to be the three big contenders. And I think Amazon's the sleeping giant just because it's there. You know what I mean? It's like everybody already has it. Most people don't consider it when they think about a streaming service because they get it for the shipping part of it. Is that you, Rob?
Yeah, I knocked over an empty bottle on my desk.
Man, yeah, no, I didn't have to do this when you were late.
You're fired.
Because
you're unfired. I need you. Come here.
There. Sorry. Go ahead.
You got to get the Space League Judson. You're fired. So.
But anyway, moving on, because here's like the thing that, Amazon has a completely different model. And if you have an Amazon profile, and most people do, then you already have basically Amazon Prime, and you already have Audible, you already have Comixology. You just have to activate them and start using them. And that's like done with simple clicks. So it's a completely different model. But that's also like a point that's made here, that for Netflix, everything is relatively stable. And of course, you have like some coming and going. But for the most part, Netflix isn't too affected by audience churn, which basically means that people just, they've watched what they wanted, and then they're out. Whereas for Disney Plus, who has been raved about so much in the media because that's what's propping up all of Disney stock price, that's an issue. And so it is for HBO Max, that people sign up. Even more so. People sign up, they watch what they want, and then they unsubscribe. And maybe they'll resubscribe when the book of Boba Fett comes out and stuff. But like when the Mandalorian season 2 concluded, of course, they got a huge spike with everyone that wanted to see Luke Skywalker. But then at the end of that, then people are like, okay, well, now we've seen that. We have enough other services to keep us occupied. We've seen most of the stuff here anyway. Unsubscribe. And WandaVision, I don't know how much that's going to help, but it certainly hasn't done much so far.
Right. Well, we were just talking about that Monday. We're like, did it really bring anybody in? No, but did it retain some people? Yes.
Yeah.
And I actually did some homework last night without even realizing it. I have a good idea now about how much money these services are worth and how many people it takes to get to that point. And Patrick Mulligan says, no more fuck the worlds with Tom, I guess. I do it one more time. I remember GOAT. GOAT meant greatest of all time. I don't know. Since when is For the Win FTW? It's just, I guess.
Since forever?
Since never with me. I don't know. I always thought it was fuck the world. Anyway.
I have literally never heard that in my entire life.
I'll show you the damn movie. Anyway,
Well, there's no need to show me any movie. Like I trust that when you say that it's been used for that once or twice, but most of the time it's used. I assure you, it's for the win.
it's been adopted then by gamers because too many streaming services here. That's right, Prophet of a broken prophet. Well, the number that they want to hit is near 200 million. At which point, then the 200 million they have roughly about 8 or 9 million billion. I'm sorry, in working revenue. If that gives you any kind of indication of where they're at.
Yeah, for a company like Disney, they'll take it, but again, that's not.
No, that's basically where Netflix is at right now.
Yeah. For Netflix, that's good and well, and that's what Disney needs to get to, which of course is the goal, and that's why they're doing this. That if for the services that are able to get up to that upper echelon of services, where you get to be among the one or two or tops 3 services that everyone has to have, then you're made, and you can basically you have
good luck.
It's like finding oil, but for everyone else, it's a null-sum game.
It's 250 million subscribers to get about $10 billion.
Yeah, good luck with that, really. I mean, really, it's just the law of averages that, first of all, there's not enough content on a lot of these other services to go around to be able to get to that upper echelon of elite streaming services. And second, whatever content there is spread out among the other ones. I mean, unless HBO Max thought it was going to be a big deal having Friends, right? Remember that, Tom? Oh yeah, we're going to be exclusive home of Friends. Friends, you can turn on any local television channel across the country, much of the world, and see Friends anytime you want.
But for how much longer, though?
Well, for not much longer. How much? At some point,
no. But you got a point to a point.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, and CBS and Paramount and Viacom really screwed themselves when they didn't make Star Trek exclusive. When they and I keep saying, and Andre seems to agree, and you seem to agree, Tom, that when they got the money for Star Trek Discovery, in that deal was a clause. There had to have been a clause. Was like Netflix said, okay, we get Star Trek, all Star Trek series except the animated one for the next 10 to 15 years or something like that.
I don't know if it's that so much. I mean, I agree that here's the thing with Paramount that I know is because I was digging deeper into their stuff before, and like I talked to Andre about, is they're amortizing their shit across the board. They're not going to be as exclusive as everybody else. Like, there will probably never be a time where Star Trek is only available on Paramount Plus.
No, because there's just too much money in licensing it. Because, yeah, you can say that, okay, now we are the exclusive home of Star Trek and of Friends and this and that and yada, yada, yada. But you know what that means? That means they're not going to get literally hundreds of millions of dollars, which accumulated is what it would be for all of those different things that you could apply this to in revenue from licensing deals.
Yep. And guess what, guys? I'm a badass biker. So there.
How's about
well, there you go.
People have done the homework. I told you.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying that you were wrong. I'm just saying that it means more things today, which sometimes happens. And while we're on that note, Willie Woodward says, now we got the brains, Andre, the heart, Tom, and the mouth, Rob. All we need is the Shopspa, Mecca, and whatever script is, and we got a party.
I thought you were going to call me the genitals. I mean,
that's chutzpah.
Don't feel that. Everybody says chutzpah or whatever.
Yeah, well, my Yiddish is only so.
Oy.
Oy vey, oy. Where's Yiddish? Where's Robert Meyer Burnett? He'll be able to correct us. So.
And Mr. Tickletrunk also says, let ME disparage Australia then, Rob. everything there is poisonous.
No. I listen. I'm on a quest to find good Australian beer in America. Okay,
Well,
listen.
we need to write a children's book. Welcome to Australia. Everything will kill you.
Welcome to Australia. Don't go out your door. It's bloody dangerous out there.
The wind's gonna kill you. The
The
spiders, they'll kill you. Even the koalas, they'll kill you.
Yeah, you could have the Midnight's Edge children's book for Australia right next to Australia's children's book by their #1 star, Mark Chopper Reed, who also actually did write a children's book, which I really want to get my hands on. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. But anyway, the summary of this article is that the consumers generally aren't going to want to spend any more money on streaming than they are for their regular television thing right now. They're not going to have like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 streaming services. They're going to have like 2 or 3, which again harkens back to what we've been saying all along, that it's ka-ching for those 2 or 3 in the upper echelon, whereas everyone else, well, they gambled and they lost big time.
Well, cable companies are already jacking up their their prices, because they know you're going to ditch cable for streaming services, and it's going to be the same price pretty soon. They're going to force everybody to go back to cable. They're going to force everybody to go back to cable TV. Besides, and I always say, how many of these streaming services do you really need?
Well, that depends entirely on the content. And this is also what we've been saying, that they are going to go after all the genre content there is, which in some sense is good news for us. The problem is that they're going to get cut really, really short if the service they're on isn't a hit right out of the gate. Like, for instance, Apple TV, one of their huge things is the upcoming Foundation series by Isaac Asimov. And for those of you that did not know, yes, that is coming. Foundation is coming.
Yeah,
but here's the thing. How long is it going to last? Because if they're adapting the books, all the books, then we're talking many, many seasons right here. But if it doesn't work as planned, I mean, that's a very, very expensive series. If that doesn't work as planned, then how long are Apple going to pump money into it? I mean, they have plenty other things that they can that they earn money from. So they're like, oh, okay, fine. So we didn't win this streaming thing, then. Well, just shut it all down. And then suddenly the Foundation series, if indeed it's good, which we don't know, but if it is, we risk that ends on a cliffhanger, never to be resolved and never to be picked up on ever again. And now in an economy where there really isn't economy for big screen movie releases, that might never ever be tried again.
But what Apple has that everybody doesn't have is an operating cost, regardless of a subscriber base. They have 55 million subscribers, but they still have a $6 billion content.
Oh, what the hell?
Yeah, but also how many of those subscribers are loyal subscribers? That
I know.
Again, you have to activate the service. And how
I know. You're right.
Activate that.
And again, though, like the Apple's more of another sleeping giant. Like, they have all this operating revenue that nobody else has. And at the same time, though, they must have walked away from the table when it came to Bond, I'm assuming. Otherwise, that's the only reason I see why they pushed Bond back again. But there's still only a blip on the meter. They're still on the lower end of the scale. Like, they only have 55 million subscribers. So, I mean, I know that sounds like only, but no, it's compared. That's only like that's only a fourth of what Netflix has, basically.
Indeed. But yeah, that's also true that Apple is one of those companies that Cyberpunk warned us about. But still, again, if it doesn't work out for them, they can just back out of it with it having any kind of consequences whatsoever, because they're that big. And on that note, Kyle Dawson says, I go yearly with my subs, and T/MO pays for my Netflix. Yeah, awesome.
He means T-Mobile, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Brilliant. And Mills says for 35 South African rounds, thank you. Apple series I'm keen for. For All Mankind Season 2. Morning Show Season 2, C2. Foundation and Masters of the Air. Band of Brothers sequel. Oh, I hadn't heard about that. That should be cool. That should be cool. Yeah, Apple, they have some cool stuff coming, but we'll see if that's enough to make a big blip on the radar. They're a potential sleeping giant. That indeed they are. But if they'll be able to make that particular part of the business profitable, well, that remains to be seen, doesn't it?
I'm gonna tell. Band of Brothers is oh god, Band of Brothers is so good. Anything.
Evidently, HBO didn't own that.
No, I remember seeing it on when before it was gobbled. Well, it used to be called Spike TV. They were showing it for a while, and even edited. It was actually really good. It was unbelievable, really so good. I bought the DVD box set. Actually, it comes in a nice collector's tin. Really good.
Oh,
now you made me forget what I was going to say.
Yeah, well, that's been known to happen, isn't it?
Well, I can see Apple. They're probably going to make some moves in the next few months, I'd imagine. They'll probably buy up. I don't know if they'll buy MGM, but I wouldn't be surprised if they try to make a move for Sony, especially going after their music and entertainment departments, leaving everything but the video games, basically.
Yeah, that could very well be. On the topic of the Foundation, John Willis says, they're trashing Lord of the Rings. You think they will actually respect the Foundation? I don't think so, but at the same time, Bad Robot, insofar as I'm aware, aren't involved with the Foundation. So I think that it will be treated with more respect than Lord of the Rings. But if that's enough, I don't know. I couldn't say. So, yeah. And then Jesse Miller at the Crow's Nest says, no comment, just a tip. Oh, thank you so much. We really appreciate that.
Hopefully you're working hard this morning or hardly working, one of the two.
Oh, as long as one is working on something.
Yeah, no, but as far as this whole thing goes, yeah, it's going to be an interesting year. We're going to see a lot of shifting and moving and changing. I mean, what other points did this article bring up that you wanted to hit on exactly, Andre?
Well, there really isn't so much to say, because what they're saying is that all the streaming services that want to succeed, they have to give their customers the VIP treatment without necessarily saying what the hell they mean by that. But the summary is that unless you're big already, then kind of give up. So, yeah, it's basically just what we've been saying for a whole time, that the streaming wars is a winner takes it all kind of war. There's like room for 1, 2, maybe tops 3 at the top. Everyone else will find themselves on
the magic number is 4.
It's,
honestly, I think the magic number is 4.
It's like 4 then, but everyone other than those 4 will find themselves screwed. Which again leaves me with the question: why the hell was the industry rushing to do this? Because I honestly think they were better off with physical media than they are with streaming, because there was much more money in it for them in that. But that's me.
Well, there's another side of this. They're weakening the theaters. They're not killing them off necessarily yet, but they're weakening them. They're putting them in a very vulnerable position so that when things do come back around, they have all the negotiation power. They will be able to go forward going, we will pick what will go into streaming. We will pick what goes both. We will pick what goes into theaters only. No longer will the theaters dictate to us what our movies can do. Because, that's kind of been the sticking point, is then that the theaters, they require that the movies play for so long. There's no streaming at the same time. All these other things that have been no-nos for years are going to go out the window.
It's short-term thinking too. I mean, which has always plagued an industry like this. Oh, they get dollar signs in their eyes. Oh, we got to get on this. Like, yeah, but what about what about them? They're not thinking long-term. It's just.
Well, in a way they are, though, too, Rob. I mean, I get where you're coming from, but it is kind of a long-term thought. Like, how much longer? I mean, we've said it for years. Theaters are on, life support right now.
Yeah.
And this pushed them to the brink of death, but it's not a death. It's a resurgence for independent theaters. But what it will do is put AMC and Regal and all these other cinemas chains in a very vulnerable position we've already seen it. They've already buckled for Universal and gave them the 4-week window. It's going to get worse. They're going to give them everything they want because they have no choice. They have no negotiation power whatsoever. And Andre, I think, knows what I'm talking about coming from a business standpoint. They lost all their leverage. They have nothing left.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, here's the thing. That's what they are doing or at least what the studios are doing with this. And again, this only applies for the ones that have their own streaming service. Again, this is kind of like a winner takes it all kind of thing for them, for the Disneys, for the Warners. If they're able to succeed with HBO Max, then they are in the position where they own the entire production and distribution chain, and they can dictate. Whereas if you're less lucky, if you're a Sony, if you're a Lionsgate, if you're a Paramount, assuming that Paramount Plus doesn't become a smash hit overnight, then you're kind of screwed, because then you kind of have to adapt your own business to the rest of the model, but you don't own a service. Instead, you're going to have to work out some kind of deal with the others that end up winning this thing, because for how long will they be able to support something like CBS All Access or a Paramount Plus or a Peacock for that matter?
Right.
They certainly can't keep things exclusive there, because that's leaving hundreds of millions of dollars on the table in things that could be licensed. So again, this is a restructuring of the movie industry where you're going to end up with 2, 3, maybe 4 winners, and everyone else will either be absorbed or completely subservient to them, including the theaters.
Yeah,
it's like Highlander. There can be only one.
Kind of, sort of. No, and I mean, what we will see though is it may open the window for some production companies to spring up. In place of a lot of these independent production companies and stuff that'll kind of die out. As far as like the MGM is probably going to die. Nobody's going to buy.
There will be opportunity, because that always happens. That you have like the incumbents who have an economy of scale, which means that they can survive. But that doesn't mean that someone else can pick up the necessary talent and be adapted to the new environment from the get-go, go in and conquer a big part, or not of the whole market, but of a segment of the market as a new production company. That can absolutely happen. But this is a bad time for instance, the likes of Paramount and Sony. They better hope that the big ones are willing to pay much to pick them up.
Yeah, you might want to mute there, Rob.
I'm still fiddling with the thing.
I know, I can tell. Kit Kat sends in a super chat, says, "My hope is that the coming streaming wars crush junk Trek to powder." Maybe. Actually, that's a good bounce out to where I was going to go, because we're making fun of Paramount Plus, but Peacock is doing surprisingly better than most people thought it would. But that is because for a few things, and one, they have a free base version. But another thing I think that Paramount Plus may have that we're kind of, and this is one thing where I've said CBS All Access is dead. It's done for. It was never going to work. Paramount Plus is a different story. Now, do I think it's going to be this huge streaming service? No, not necessarily. But what do they have? They have the one thing to compete with Disney that nobody else has. They have a very strong family entertainment base in Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon is arguably one of the few things that can give Disney a run for its money in the kids department. And it has the market cornered on boys, as opposed to the market cornered on girls like Disney.
Indeed. Like just having seen their output myself, since I have both Disney Junior and Nick Junior much more on the TV than I have the likes of Cobra Kai, let's say. Nick Junior has the boys covered.
Absolutely. So like that's one thing we cannot count out when it comes to Paramount is they have like Nickelodeon, Comedy Central, MTV, quite a few of the major cable networks. Because that's another thing is like, okay, television / cable is going to die, but where's all this stuff going to migrate to?
Exactly. That's like the thing, that it's not going to be like it was before in any way. And also that's why I say, like, assuming that Paramount Plus, but it could surprise us, because I think that things are going to be really, really intense now when they actually do get Paramount Plus rolling, because then we'll have HBO Max in the fray. And that will also gradually be going international. Right now, the war is being fought in the US, and the US almost only, because there's so few which are available worldwide. I mean, Netflix, of course, is everywhere. Disney Plus is starting to become more available everywhere. Yeah. Whereas Hulu, that's US only. You have like Star, that's the Hulu equivalent in India and stuff, that's being rolled out in a couple of places, which I think is a mistake, but that's me. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting once we then get Paramount Plus into the fray. And I think they're going to be tough competition, but again, they may be late. So it's a matter of what kind of niche are they able to chart out for themselves, and is that niche big enough to be sustainable? Is that niche big enough to sustain continued productions like Star Trek, and certainly to keep them exclusive?
Well, I'll tell you
if
right
Netflix
now,
is out.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, like, if Netflix is out, they have to fund it themselves.
Never underestimate that square yellow bastard. Never underestimate SpongeBob. That little motherfucker's been around forever. And they're going to be dropping one of his new movies on Paramount Plus, and open up another.
Didn't they do that already? Didn't like that movie come on Netflix like months ago?
No, I think they're doing it on Paramount, if I remember right.
Another one?
I think so.
Fourth movie then. So
unless you guys got it over there, and I don't know, unless I'm forgetting that they already dropped it.
Yeah, the third one I've seen like on Netflix with my kids multiple times.
Last one I remember was the superhero one, but I thought they had another one coming unless it already dropped. But no, like never underestimate SpongeBob. Like fucker's been around forever.
Freaking adults love SpongeBob.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's going to be one of their big pushing points. And what if they turn around and say like, "Oh, by the way, Sonic 2, Paramount Plus only." Shit like that.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough competition, but they have to make it first. They have to scrape together the cash for it. That's going to be easier said than done for the cash-stricken.
Evidently, they got.
Of course, they also have like the.
I heard they got a big cash.
Oh, that's going to help a little bit to that.
That's why season 4 of Discovery is filming.
Is there? I mean, are a lot of the spaceships going to? A lot of ships now in the fleet going to have Chinese names? You're going to be looking at the Guangdong.
Oh no! I heard the show is on major. Like, okay, I've actually got an update on Discovery. It is filming. I've gotten from a couple different places that yes, it is filming, but they are on a stripped ass budget.
A lot of bottle episodes, then, right?
Yeah. Do they have Netflix money this time around?
That's what I think the question is. No, I don't think they do. They had an injection from somewhere. I can't remember where it was. Come in late last year, and I believe that's where I'm thinking that I don't think that season 4 is going to be on Netflix. I think it's going to be on Paramount Plus. I could be wrong, but.
And that would actually fit really, really well with our own coverage, because to everyone that's going to go and say, "You said it was canceled." No, we didn't say it was canceled. We said we heard that they might have lost Netflix. And if Netflix is out, well, that means they have to find someone else to fund it. If they fund it themselves, our reporting is completely accurate.
We'll
have to wait and see.
Where's my Godfather music? I got a feeling when I think I know where the cash came from. You come to me with your Star Trek, and you want to make a 4th season. What did I do to this disrespect? You know. So anyway,
Yeah.
the USS Vito Corleone we're going to be looking at.
And Cajun Bowser says about Sony, they still have Crackle, and they've effectively cornered the anime side of things with Funimation, Crunchyroll. They could make plays there. Yeah, they could. They could charge something there. But how much money is it going to be there, and how much will they have to restructure their business to atone for that? That's kind of like the question here. Yeah, it's like, will it pay enough? They can make a play there, but will it be big enough a play that it's sustainable for a company like Sony? It could be. I don't know.
Sony's going to carve out their own little niche in the market so that they're going to stay, all these other services want to go big. I think Sony's going to say, hey, listen, we can do pretty well just staying small.
Well, they've got the PlayStation. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They don't really so much. I mean, it is an app in quotations, but it's more so they have the platform of you can buy movies off the PlayStation Store. You can buy TV off the PlayStation Store. Crackle was kind of their failed experiment, but Sony is in the same place Paramount is. They're going to make more money in the long run making stuff for other companies. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if like Bad Boys 4 happens, but it happens for Netflix. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of thing that we'll see for like Sony going down the road. A lot of their stuff is going to go. Yeah, they'll do some theatrical stuff, but you'll probably see a lot more deals with Amazon or Netflix or whatever, and they've been pretty close and chummy with Netflix. So,
yeah. We got another super chat from Mills, who was reminding us that something else is happening right now, which is good and well for those that care. But again, we're going to try to stay non-partisan and non-political here because that is what we do.
Yeah, plenty other places you can get that coverage. We're just going to stick to what we're doing here.
Yeah, exactly.
So thank you for the donation, but we're not going to get down that road.
Yeah. And this is also right. AMC is owned by China, so it'll be very interesting to see how all of that plays out. Because this is true. The soft power by China in the States is pretty significant, and it got a pretty big boost today. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Go watch our mini
and everything,
and go watch our mini doc if you haven't seen it about AMC in China. It's actually really, really, really interesting.
Yeah,
you call it a mini doc.
Oh my God!
You were just going to say, Andre?
Yeah, no, he calls it a mini doc. I call it our very own Tiger King.
Well, yeah. People always ask me, "Oh my God, this is like." Listen, when I wrote that, I couldn't believe what I was finding. It was unbelievable. It was like, really, holy crap! I'm like, and part of me said to me, "Yeah, nobody's gonna believe this. Nobody. This is just too outrageous. Nobody's gonna believe this." And so, but that's what happened. Really, it's all there.
Story of sex, greed, and murder.
And you wanted to use that. You used that joke. You used that bit jokingly, and it turned out to be all that.
Yeah. Yeah, I did use it jokingly, and it turned out to be true. And then Mill sent in another one, says if they don't end, I think he's saying New Trek Viacom deserves to die. Well, yeah. I mean, Trek is not the property it used to be, because if it was, they'd be using it to prop up Paramount Plus a lot more.
I'm looking. I have to look up what CAR, what the money is. South African rands. Okay.
Yes, South African rands. Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't familiar with the abbreviation.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's we have quite a few currencies coming in because we have such an international audience, and that is well and truly awesome. On that note, William Sova says, "Hey guys, also don't forget the move away from physical media started happening around the time the writers' strike happened."
It actually happened long before that. If you actually catch the roundtable that we had with Bill Hunt at the Digital Bits back in the day, we kind of talk a lot about how physical media was being treated by the industry at that point, and we bring up how the format wars played into that. And I firmly believe that Bill Gates' plan from the start wasn't so much to introduce another format with HD DVD. It was to simply create a streaming war to kill physical media. and in a way, he planted the seeds that grew into streaming media that we're at right now. I mean, he knew that's what was on the horizon, and in his eyes, if I can create a problem now, eventually it'll weaken the other media, which it did. Because of that war, Blu-ray never, ever reached nearly the heights that DVD did. And DVD is still the master of physical media, but no, the studios are slowly phasing it out. Disney is to the point where they barely release anything, and they're one of the biggest market shares when it comes to physical media.
Yeah, that was the whole purpose for Microsoft propping up HD DVD. They deliberately went for the losing side to prolong the war because they knew that that would just send more people over to streaming and get that in earlier. So yeah, really insidious stuff.
Bill Gates is, Bill Gates is not a dumb guy. I mean, yeah, we all like to say Bill Gates is, he's a dweeb, but he's probably kicking back, think of all those Microsoft Windows 10 development kits I could sell when everybody goes to streaming.
I assure you that people are saying far worse things about him than that he's dumb. That's like, of all the things that's said about him, that's the least of issues without us getting into that at all. But yeah, so Microsoft, of course, is profiting immensely from streaming because it's much their infrastructure that's being used to push it.
Yeah, do you remember a few years ago? That wasn't a few years ago. It was about maybe about 10 years ago when Bill Gates wanted to. He said he wanted to curb spam emails, so he was proposing having a 1 cent email stamp. And I said, and everyone says, "Oh, yeah, well, this is a good idea. Think about all those mass emails go." I'm like, yeah, but I was one of the few people asking, where are all those pennies going? I mean, do you think he's doing this out of the goodness of his heart to further an industry? No, they all got to go somewhere, and my guess is right into his pocket. Bill Gates doesn't. I'm already paying to send email, okay, through my ISP. Why should I be paying again just for the privilege of And what if somebody hacks my email and decides to send out spam to everybody? Then I'm stuck with that bill. I'm like, so yeah.
Bill Gates has never done a single thing from the goodness of his heart, and that's all we're going to say about that.
Even all those
moving on from
okay, I was about to say even all those charities he contributes to. I'm pretty sure he's saying in the back of his mind, if all those starving kids, if they get desks, start going to school, they could all be using Windows computers eventually.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on from that. Silver Nova says, I grew up in Australia during the 80s, born in 75, and we were at least 6 months behind the US with cinematic release dates. It was awful, but at least wokeness would not yet appear for another 35 years or so. Cheers, guys. Cheers, and thanks for the $20 donation. We really appreciate that. And I can absolutely identify with that frustration being from Norway. There was it got pretty good there like the last few years, but I remember like in my formative years, if there was a movie that I knew about, it was always a question: is it going to go to theaters at all? Like, for instance, The Phantom from 1996, that went straight to VHS. And I remember like when the X-Men came and it was actually got a theatrical release in Norway, I was like, whoa, I never would have thought that they would have put this in theaters at all. And that was a good
well, you know what the big first other than that, the big first one that did almost a worldwide release at once, I believe, was Phantom Menace.
No, that was worldwide at the same time.
Yeah, I think that was the first big one. And no, like Silver Nova, you can thank the internet and piracy for that. If it wasn't for that fact, the rest of the world would still probably be behind, because it's a lot cheaper for them because they have an idea of what they have. They know how it played in the US. They know how to play to its strengths and how to play to its, and to hide its weaknesses better, months down the line. And prolong the life of a movie big time. In comparison to now, but now we live in a worldwide world. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah,
you got the point across.
Yeah, it's a little different than it used to be for sure. And no, I mean, and even the kids nowadays, it's funny because I just had this conversation with a younger kid yesterday about. They were talking about how in their eyes, the first gay character was on Dawson's Creek. I'm like, oh man, they got you guys so brainwashed. It's like try All in the Family. But anyway, like, yeah, that's the thing is things were so open and different then, and then they just decided to call all the attention to the stupid bullshit in the recent years with this wokeness crap. So yeah. Hopefully it'll
No, as I
pass,
said,
but it's a
yeah.
manufactured trend, so I don't know about that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, with the wokeness, history kind of begun with the dark ages from 2016, and before that was a long forgotten golden age, but the details we've forgotten, so we have to rediscover everything. So every single time we have a new female-led movie, it's the first time. So,
Well,
yeah,
no, I've
stuff.
realized that a lot of these kids think that the world has been like it was pre-1950s up until recent years or something. It's like, where do you get this from?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but they've been brainwashed into thinking that. So obviously. So we can't really blame them. This is the propaganda that's been fed to them, which is really disturbing, but I'm not going to get into that. Instead,
Yeah.
we're going to
Well,
get
we
right
keep
into what the
reminding
big
people
red...
that, Star Trek, All in the Family, all these shows were there before all this new shit, guys. It's not anything new under the sun.
Exactly. The Big Red Bear sends us 10 Canadian dollars, thank you so much, saying, anime hopefully gets some changes soon from Sony. I'd rather not be pushing child-adult relations and grooming. I can see I've been out of animation for quite some time, if that's a thing, so thank God I'm not into that. And then best of luck to Sony. That medium is a bunch of landmines waiting to happen too. Yeah, anyone in the comments who are more familiar with animation than myself, feel free to to
Yeah, I
expand
don't
upon
really
that.
get into anime, but I do know that there's a side of it that is a bit risque. I mean, beyond that, I don't know much. But I do know there's people that there's a lot of debate on it. So, not one I'm involved in. I don't believe in censorship, but at the same time, there's a line that should not be crossed. Probably.
Yeah, there's a line. There's a line, and
And,
it would appear that some animation is walking on the wrong side of it.
Yeah, but again, it's not my place to decide those things.
Yeah. And
we did have a couple more super chats there. I saw.
Yeah, we have a couple of more. Antoine Moore says, "What about HBO Max releasing their blockbusters on Max and in theaters? Does that put HBO over the lower services during COVID? All hail The Expanse."
Yes,
it should. It really should do so.
They are doing pretty close to what they had anticipated. I don't know if Wonder Woman did what they wanted it to do, but I don't think they expected it to. I think they're banking on some other features right now. One of which, of course, being Kong versus Godzilla. I think they know that's going to bring in some people. Because as much as we brought this up before, I know the second film didn't do, I think, as well as the first Godzilla movie did in theaters. But Kong is real big in the U.S., because I've had this conversation with you a couple of years back, if I remember right, Andre, when Godzilla came out.
Yeah, we had that conversation. Yeah.
And I think that's going to be one of the ones that's really going to drive, because Godzilla is big with kids. Walk into any Walmart and that movie's 2 years old and the fucker's still on the shelf. They still got Kong and they had Godzilla toys up until they brought out the Kong toys with Godzilla. Like, I mean, there was no patch in between. You know what I mean? Like, they just switched them over. It was seamless. And they've had Kong and Godzilla toys, restocking them regularly at my local Walmart. So I got to imagine that with kids right now, Kong and Godzilla is going to be a big one for them. And then they got some other stuff. I mean, Space Jam, I don't know about that. But Dune, I know that's one Andre and I have talked about quite a bit. We've
absolutely
kind of looked at, and I think there's a bit of, and I brought this up, I think, especially if they go with a digital premiere at the same time with Dune, because we don't know how that one's going to play out yet. But if they do that, I think that'll be a better chance for Dune than if it was just a theatrical only, because I think there's some pent up interest in Dune, but I don't know if those people will take the plunge in a theater. And I know we've had that discussion before too, Andre.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, it will be interesting to see, and we will develop that much further later.
But we have
We
a
also
better
got some other
idea.
scoop.
Well, no, I was going to say we also have a better idea now of how these things work, because we constantly get asked, well, how do they make money? How do they make money? Well, we know now they need about 250 million subscribers to have a $10 billion working budget.
Yeah. So that's quite a lot that is required. And then we had a super chat from Kit Kat that I can no longer bring on screen. But anyway, Kit Kat says for £5 British, thank you so much, matey. Obviously, Section 31 with Michelle Yeoh is aimed at the Chinese market. So are those uniforms. Oh, yeah.
Oh
That's
my
absolutely
God.
right.
Rob has had fun with those. Because you compared them to
Stalin would be proud.
the ones on Futurama.
So would Chairman Mao.
I think we lost Rob.
Yeah,
he's
no,
gonna
he
be right
had
back.
to.
Never mind.
dip
That was
out
like
for a
5
moment
10
there.
minutes ago. Yeah. And then is this our next one with Antoine Moore here?
The one about
That one we already got
the one
the
on
answer.
screen. Yeah, we
Yeah, we got
already got that one.
Okay.
The next one is from Memento Power that adds some more detailed into Bill Gates and the controversy surrounding him, which you can read on screen, but I'm not going to say it out loud, because if I do, then suddenly the stream might be shut down. So yeah, controversial figure with lots of power in tech.
I like your icon there. I think Rob wishes he looked like that Mario.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's me, Mario.
Yeah, Rob has to
That's
do
more
that.
like
That way it's not
Mario Brothers, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm gonna crush you, you turtle. Look at that.
And then Diego Flores says, the last super chat about anime has a very conservative skew. It doesn't really understand the culture of anime proper. I recommend watching The Anime Man, Giguk, and Nuxtaco to really understand anime and their explanation of things like lolis. Yeah, if you say so, then everyone check out those channels and feel free to make up their own minds.
Me, on the other hand, I appreciate the super chat, but not my cup of tea.
Yeah. And Jesse Miller at the Crow's Nest said, who wrote Wonder Woman 1984? They need a public
Jesse,
shaming.
you must be a few weeks behind the game here. Yeah. Patty Jenkins is one of the writers on that.
No, but she wasn't the only one.
She wasn't the only one. I can't remember the name of the other writer, but he also,
I can.
Go ahead.
Jeff Johns.
Oh, no, there
Jeff
was another
Johns.
one besides that, too, though.
Yeah, there was another one, but the basic story and everything is from Jeff Johns. This movie was greenlit during the very brief Jeff Johns and John Berg tenure. So the basic story was from Jeff Johns, and the intention was to go away from Snyder's fully integrated world where everyone crossed over. Instead, they wanted everything to be standalone, and that's what they did with the movies that they greenlit. Because the movies that they greenlit were Aquaman, it was Shazam, and it was Wonder Woman 1984. Those were the three movies greenlit by them, and you'll see that they were all very happy-go-lucky, cheerful, and comedic in tone, and they have no connection to each other. So that was the managerial
Very
practice that they went with.
at best.
Yeah, and then, of course, Patty Jenkins wanted her say on the script, and in the end, we got a crap movie out of it. So there's plenty of fingers to go around there.
This Wonder Woman 84 felt like a very old script that was just lying around, you know? Or a very old idea that was just lying around. Hey, why don't we do that thing we were going to do?
We were talking about, I can't remember which stream we were talking about it on, but like, I made the joke, but we got so far on the joke that we got to the point where we convinced ourselves that it might be true. It's like Patty Jenkins probably came up with this idea, and people give her a lot of credit because she made Monster and all that shit. But look at her career. Yeah, she supposedly, did smaller things for a while to concentrate on motherhood. but she hasn't really done anything else. She directed a bunch of TV for 20 years. And I wouldn't even say a bunch. I'd say, okay, a handful of TV shows in 20 years. It sounds like the idea that came from a 12-year-old girl. And everybody's like, yeah, it's probably true. Probably Patty came up with it. And then Jeff John said, okay. And then I can't remember the name of the other writer that script brought up to us. But so
who is also an inept, apparently.
Yeah, inept. And he says, yeah, he's a horrible writer. So like, yeah, so you have this perfect storm of stupidity all at once. And mixed with what Andre was saying, because that was the thing I kept hearing all that time too, is they're getting the fuck away from the Snyderverse. No more dark, no more dreary, no more dour, no more, any of that. And
connectivity. None of that.
And trying to get away from as much connectivity as possible. Plus also still have it connect at the same time though, Andre. So it was like this kind of fine dance they were doing. It was like, yeah, we're getting away from that, but since all these same actors are still there, and they didn't want to like ruin the illusion that they were still part of the same universe. But yeah, it was pretty obvious once you saw Wonder Woman and Shazam and Aquaman that they are clearly a different tone and different vision overall. And that was the thing, is they were going to get away from all that crap. And I know it's popular now to be on the Snyder train, but a lot of people forget that for a while it wasn't very popular. So just keep that in mind as well.
Yeah. And then Mills wonders, what's your take on Max rumored rebranding? We're talking about HBO Max. Is there a rebranding of that going on? First I hear of it in that case.
No, I haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah, and if there is, then my thoughts is very clear. It's not HBO Max that needs to be rebranded. Mm-hmm. It's all the other HBOs that needs to be branded the hell away.
Yeah, because I got a little bit better idea on what the HBO brands are, the different ones, but they still make no sense.
Exactly. So it's them that needs to be branded away, and HBO Max can stay as it is. That at least is my thoughts on that matter. And maybe I'm wrong.
It goes down like this, Andre, and I can't remember which is which, but between HBO Now and HBO Go, which are still available, one of them is if you get it through your cable operator. The other one you get is just a streaming service that's HBO only. So it's only the HBO stuff. And then, or you can get it HBO Max, which is basically the same thing mixed with everything else.
Oh, that's freaking hopeless.
Isn't it fucking stupid?
Yeah. You see, that's their branding problem. They have to brand away everything else and keep only HBO Max and have everything there.
Yeah, because remember what we were saying is they had the biggest upper hand of all the companies with the name. Because of all the companies, what name stands out the most and everybody knows? Everybody knows, and it still is relevant. Exactly. HBO.
And they blew it.
They fucking blew it. But hopefully they stick the landing here. We'll see. I think Kong versus Godzilla is going to put him back into play. I think that's their Hail Mary at this point.
Yeah, we shall see. And John Apocalypse says, my family and people I know will go to the theaters, but set the sails when it comes to home releases. Is this a common thing? I believe so. I believe that's a very, very common thing. I absolutely think this is a very, very common thing. And if you're sailing the high seas, you've never had more high quality content than right now.
Yeah, and if you do sail the high seas,
make sure, like I said, we don't condone that, but let's just say if you want to check out what other people are watching in other countries, you can do that with Surfshark.
Yeah, you can. So just head on over to Surfshark and Surfshark that, and use the code MIDNIGHT when checking out for an exclusive, really good deal.
Listen, I love Life on Mars, but you know what? I can't watch it on BBC iPlayer because I'm in the US. But you load up Surfshark, change the region, that puppy takes care of itself.
Exactly. And the same with Netflix.
It works. It works. I've used it.
Yeah.
In fact, I was going to try and talk you into something possibly, Andre. I don't want to put it out too far, but they have Masters of the Universe free right now on YouTube.
Oh. But it's probably region blocked.
Exactly. We could do a watch party of that, possibly like a Patreon exclusive or whatever. But yeah, you'll have to use Surfshark to watch it.
Yeah, I'm not down with that. Yeah. But and like half the trailers, like for instance, this Mortal Kombat thing, and many other things, that was like also region blocked. I Surfshark my way around that, so we do use it.
Silver Nova says, just like surfing in Australia, just surfing with the sharks. So
yeah, exactly. And then we have this anime discussion that we had in some previous super chats that really got people right off. Nintendo Power says, the problem with anime is that the culture normalizes sexual comedy with younger audiences, but the medium does not promote child and adult relations. I should goddamn well hope not.
Not a debate I know enough about to get into. So
I'm not touching that one.
I'll let you guys hash it out in the comments, and we'll stay right here on the sidelines.
And as long as you stay civil, our lovely Wrench, I think she's in the chat. She was earlier. She will let you be, but yeah, if you get a warning, be good.
And use the code midnight for 3 free months and 75% off.
I wish it was that much. I don't think it's that much. Maybe it is that much still. How much
with Surfshark? That's 83% off. Even more.
Yeah. See, you're getting an even better deal than I told you. Okay, so go sign up today if you can.
There you go. Tiberius Monk has a really good super chat here, though.
Yeah, take it away.
Bad Boys for Life, Bill and Ted 3, Animaniacs, and Cobra Kai all prove you can take a franchise, respect its history, add new elements that please old and new fans. Hollywood, take note on this. For all three of or at least 3 of those I can speak for. Animaniacs, I checked out pretty early. I can't speak for that one. It just didn't feel the same for me. But if you enjoyed it and you got the same entertainment out of it that you used to, good for you. Rob, I think you watched a little bit more of that than I did. And Rob is dead.
With that, we'll continue with Archangel. Yeah, who says, I hope shows like Lord of the Rings, Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime go weekly. If you have enough shows that people want spread through the year equals less cancellations. You know what? I think they will, because I know that they released Picard weekly, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to do the same thing with Lord of the Rings and Wheel of Time. I also look forward to how the reactions to those shows is going to be, because we've heard nothing but nightmares coming out of either of them. So that'll be
well. And then the other side of this is obviously, if you notice, they have less shows than a normal show would. That's because they put a lot more money into less shows. I don't know about less cancellations though. It all depends on the show. I mean,
exactly. That's what because also Amazon doesn't get cancellations. Again, it's a different business model.
And like if anything going forward, we're going to see, we've brought this up before, Archangel, and Andre knows what I'm talking about here. You're going to see a lot of things that you love probably never get finished out. You're going to probably see a lot more cancellations than you would have on network and cable television.
Absolutely.
Because it's going to be so spread out that, until we get to those main 3 or 4, there's just going to be a lot of great entertainment that's going to get shuffled and lost. Cobra Kai could have been one of those shows. Yeah. It totally could have been one of those shows that got lost in the shuffle of the nonsense due to the fact that they went with YouTube Red to begin with.
And that was a gamble, but it worked out in the end.
In the end, they got lucky. They got lucky because in any other world, that show would have just been lost to the YouTube Red. Nobody would have picked up on it.
Yeah, but luckily Netflix saw what a gem it truly was. I finished season 3 yesterday, by the way.
What'd you think?
It was awesome. It was awesome.
I was right. I told you.
Yeah, but I never said I wouldn't. Like I'm not going to say I don't.
You said it
have
was
any
stupid though. So what did you think though? They did it right though, didn't they?
Yeah. All in all.
Well, like I keep saying, Cobra Kai has no business being this good. It really doesn't.
They understand the world. Yeah. They understand the characters. They understand the rules.
Exactly. I mean, really. I mean, but even though they understand, I mean, you figure, it'd be good, but it's unreal how good it is. It really is.
Yeah, it was really good. I'm not disputing that. Like, there's some asks that I just have to okay, I'm I'm gonna accept this because it's a requirement for the show. I'm gonna accept all of this stuff that kind of pulls me out a little bit, but I'll just accept it because overall this is good stuff.
Yeah, you have to look at it like I've said.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a melodrama, it's a soap opera, but instead of having long, lingering shots where people talk about their feelings, they karate chop each other. That's the only difference. It's like, and I get it. It's for, and I don't want to say it's for guys because there's a big female base to it too. But it's
absolutely.
It's almost like a soap opera
it's
for
for
guys.
Everyone.
But yeah,
it's a great show. It's for everyone. It's even for Rob who likes karate.
Yeah,
karate high.
Andre, did you see our promo for it? Did you see the promo we made for it? Oh, I made for Mecca's channel, but we're probably gonna upload it to Mead.
No, I haven't seen it yet. I look forward to seeing it.
We'll probably show it here at the end. Let's hold that off for here.
Yeah, let's hold off. Yeah, special treat for everybody.
Yeah, let's move on with what you're saying in the comments, because next off we are back to the anime discussion with the big red bear. Says for 10 Canadian dollars. I'm pretty well informed. I'm also not conservative, obviously in reference to previous super chats claiming that. Look at the items Crunchyroll recommends to its general audience to see the problems. If cuties were an anime, it'd be pretty mainstream for an anime. So yeah, again, we're sitting right here by the sidelines and we'll let you guys duke it out. Just be civil about it. Because none of us have any clue about any of this.
Yeah. I'm not getting involved. Sorry. We appreciate the super chats, though.
Yeah, that we do. It helps keeps the lights on, as we always point out.
More than you know, I had to pay the light bill yesterday.
Yeah, quite literally so. And it's dark here in Norway this time of year. And Kyle Dawson says, will internalization of media stave off wokeness, or will media just be forced to split their markets a la Star Wars, The High Republic?
Well, we have kind of an answer to that, but we won't know the results until things happen. But like great examples, Cobra Kai, not to bring it up again, but we saw how the media and certain other individuals have been zeroing in on the show now that it has a much bigger platform, taking note that it doesn't check all their boxes, I say, because let's face it, the show is very diverse. Yeah, Johnny is like a Archie Bunker type, but that's the point of the show. Like it doesn't sensationalize his downfalls. But outside of that, I don't think the show has any problems. But they will try to interject their wokeness into it. So basically, just hope whatever show it is you're watching, as long as it's not woke and it stays popular enough to stay on the air or on the streaming service, in quotations, however you want to put it, but not popular enough to get the woke crowd's attention, basically, then you'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, fingers crossed. And carrying on with the anime discussion.
But it basically goes down to the creators. Sorry, that was the bottom line, is it's all the creators.
Yeah. While Latter Day Gamers refers to like the first rebuke in the anime discussion, last super chat about anime is a very SJW view.
Okay, guys, let's just keep it civil at least.
Yeah.
That's all I'm worried about.
Well, Leader Boss on the Multiverse doesn't have any comment, but he sends us 16.9, I believe it's Brazilian Real. So thank you so much. Really appreciate that. I think. We had it once before. I believe it's Brazilian Real. I believe it is.
Oh, that's probably because it's the main channel with all its fancy monies. We only get Canadian and Australian and stuff over on me.
We get euros every once in a while.
I know. I'm just being a shit.
Anyway, and then let's see. I think there's now some that we like. StreamYard needs really.
I know they really need to fix that. You're gonna have to probably go to the main thing there.
Yeah.
Well, while you're doing that, we did have a couple of quick updates in the news that are real quick. We can cover the Muppets original Muppet Show. All 5 seasons will be coming in February to Disney Plus.
Sweet,
and that's significant for those who know. The last 2 seasons have never been released on home video, and have been rarely seen outside of whatever few television airings they've had in the last 40 years. And of course, those last 2 seasons contain some of the more famous episodes, including the Star Wars one.
That's right. And like I said, I had a trivia question last night, and the last guest ever to appear on the Muppet Show, Roger Moore. He was on season 5.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Johnny Cash was also was a guest on one of those later episodes.
Hey, Kermit. Oh, hi, Johnny. I hurt myself today.
Oh my god.
Did you ever see that video, Andre?
No, I haven't.
The guy doing the voice is not as good as my impression, but it's like a full-on video, and it's got like Kermit fucking doing dope and it's fucking hilarious. I'm not gonna get into
that. Sounds unbelievable. I have to see that.
And he's singing
God.
Hurt, yeah. Yeah, he's like sitting there.
Hey, Kermit, I got something that'll pick you up.
Well, that's the weird part is when he goes down on Fozzie.
Oh, that's okay. I have to see
It gets dark.
That.
It gets dark. Yeah.
Oh my god. Why haven't I seen this yet?
You haven't seen this? Oh my god.
No, I haven't. No.
Well,
we off stream.
We have some off-stream homework to do later, evidently.
I focus on the pain.
Jim Henson would be proud.
It's real.
Well, yeah, moving on. Again, I cannot show the super chats on screen because, again, StreamYard. Sorry about that.
You listen to StreamYard. That's the one thing you ain't fixed yet. You've had a year to do. Jesus.
Yeah. But anyway, Pretty Little Light sends us $10. Thank you so much. And says, I like Monster, but it's not accurate towards Aileen Wuornos and the horrible things she did. She's not a victim when you read into her history. Like so many movie adaptations, that one also was overtly romanticized, let's say. And Roger Haynes says, for $5 Canadian, Tom, I noticed you were playing Cobra Kai in the middle of the night. How is that game anyway? Is it really like Double Dragon or Streets of Rage?
Both, pretty much. Actually, it should still be up unless they tore it down for some reason. I don't think they did. You can check out some gameplay there. I'll probably play it here and there when I get a few minutes to do so. It's fun. It was, it's a cheap game, but I mean,
game streams YouTube usually leaves up.
Yeah, it seemed to do fine last night. I didn't have no problem. It already tagged it with the game and everything. So, if you find it for like $20. Yeah, it's worth it. You got most of the original character voices. Some of them aren't, some of them are, but yeah. The main cast is like Johnny and Daniel and stuff like that. So,
and Fat Steven Seagal beat up, I guess, Ryan Johnson. I can't see the whole thing. But anyway, he made me hungry because he says, dude, where's my pork? Still waiting for that to go.
Last night on the High Council, we were coming up with Porg titles, and that was one of my favorites. Between Dude, Where's My Porg, Dead Porg Society. I'm trying to remember the third one I liked, but I can't remember now.
Anyway, I'd love to eat the pork one day.
Pulled pork sandwich, right, Rob?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
With some barbecue.
Now you got me hungry. It's almost about lunchtime for me.
They look delicious. Anyway, and Jason Stahl says, with Bad Robot and Amazon doing an adaptation of the second age of Tolkien's Middle-earth, how bad do you think they're gonna screw it up? Rob, let's begin with you. How badly are they gonna screw it up?
I think pretty badly. I would like to believe that that they're gonna say, they're gonna be respectful to the lore, but they're listen, okay. The War of the Ring, the Second Age, the War of the Ring, it's pretty. You don't really need a whole lot. They covered it in the prologue of Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah, we got good points.
Yeah, we got the main points. I mean, and that's about it. That's all we really need. I mean, I never read the Silmarillion. That's how you pronounce it. Who's
pretty close, actually.
Yeah, but the whole thing, it's going to look like our world. I'm like, you know what? There is real Middle-earth's not a real place. You do know that. It doesn't have to look like our world. And it just seems like they're going to, I don't want to say they're going to go full Wokemon, but they're gonna inject some stuff in there that shouldn't be in there. It's just nothing. It doesn't seem like anything good can come of it.
Well, just remember that Amazon got rid of Conan because it was problematic.
Yeah.
And Conan was plenty diverse.
They're ripping. Andre, you ever play God of War for PlayStation?
No.
15 years later, people are still saying, people are coming, God of War is problematic. I'm like, why? Oh, because he had a 3-way with these two concubines. I'm like, yeah, that's what he does. That's what Kratos does. He's a big burly guy. He's trying to, wash away the memories of accidentally killing his wife and daughter with like booze and anonymous sex. Like, that's part of the story. That's the character. He's not a nice guy. Yeah. Like, but it's fitting. People back then did that too. I'm like, above. It's just maddening. It really is. It's maddening. Like, really, we got to go after Lord of the Rings now. Really? And one of the few books I read all 1,400 pages of and actually enjoyed.
Unlike Dune.
Exactly. Exactly.
Which that does kind of boggle me that you got through Lord of the Rings, but you can't get through Dune. Okay. Because to me, Lord of the Rings, I love them. Don't get me wrong. But when you look at the books compared to the movies, the books read like stereo instructions on how to make the movies.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of detail. It does get bogged down in detail. And they did leave out a couple chapters.
I mean, I do love them. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, they are very detailed. And like you said, yeah.
For the purists out there, the 2 chapters with Tom Bombadil would have just slowed it would just ground the movie to a halt.
Well, see, now that's the other thing is I heard they might be bringing that character into this thing, and that's another thing I'm wondering: is it going to be a hodgepodge of things, or is it going to be really?
I want to know how many characters are going to sing, because that's a big deal in Lord of the Rings.
Since when?
Since they're always singing songs of the past. Yeah,
never mind.
Because that's how like a lot of the oral history.
I thought you were being funny for a second.
No,
I remember now. Chip the glasses, crack the plates, that kind of shit.
Yeah. Well, that's how a lot of the oral history is conveyed through song.
Yeah, and through the Misty Mountains and all that stuff. Yeah, I get what you're saying. All right.
Yeah. Anyway, Tom, how badly do you think that Bad Robot will mess up Lord of the Rings on behalf of Amazon?
Well, if you couldn't tell already, I think they're gonna clusterfuck this all up. I feel sorry for the Tolkien fans. I mean, I am one of them, but I'm not nearly as hardcore as like say Gary from Nerdrotic. I like Lord of the Rings quite a bit though, and from what we're hearing, I'm not getting good vibes. I don't think this is going to work out too well. It only has the opportunity to surprise me now, basically.
This can only go up. Your expectations have been sufficiently lowered, is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically. Well, and that's just about with anything now, but the more we hear about it, it's just like, yeah, I ain't expecting much out of this. I am intrigued by some fully, full-on naked elf and barely legal Smeagol, though.
Good times. And as for me, unlike you guys, I have all the respect for Tolkien in the world, but I did not grow up with him. I did not grow up with his writing. When I first read Lord of the Rings, actually, I never read Lord of the Rings. I read Tolkien, The Hobbit, and I read that way too late, when I was way too old to appreciate it. I read it after the first of Peter Jackson's movies came out, and I get that the Lord of the Rings is much better. But all I'd say is that I respect, but I'm not a fan. I was never taken by it. And in terms of this Amazon series, I'm grateful for not being a fan. And I feel bad for you that are, because this is going to be a disaster.
See, yeah, that's funny you mentioned that, because I am actually more of a Hobbit. I was brought in through The Hobbit. My initial introduction into the world was the Brankin and Bass Hobbit animated film.
I love that one. That's awesome.
So between that and then, of course, I got the book as a kid. So that was my introduction. I didn't really know about Lord of the Rings, I think, until I was a teenager. And then I learned about Lord of the Rings. I'm like, oh shit, there's a whole other world. Like I was just like, whoa, then it was like, then the whole world opened up for me. And then of course I watched the animated movies and read the books and all that kind of stuff. And then, by the time the movies came out, I was well versed in the world of Tolkien. But that was my introduction. And and that was my biggest disappointment, was seeing the Hobbit films destroyed. It's just like, oh, you could have made this one really great 3-hour movie. What the fuck are you doing? Because the best parts are all in the first movie, so it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, I don't even remember the second and the third one. I remember the first because that's the single worst theatrical experience I had in my entire life, bar none, because it was 3D and 48 frames per second, and it was god-awful. It completely took me out of it. It was like watching a set video or like a set rehearsal for 3 hours. It was horrendous.
I don't know any of these filmmakers, if you're listening, quit with the 48 and 60 frames per second shit. It doesn't work. Doesn't look right. 24 frames or nothing.
They invented 24 frames a second for a reason. Like, it wasn't a coincidence.
No.
I mean, back in the day, if they wanted 60 frames a second, they could have done it. They had the technology to.
It had less to do with the money and more to do with how it looked. Yes.
Well, exactly. There's that famous
shows it for a reason.
Well, there's that famous those pictures of the horse galloping, right, at full stride. That was this. That's what prompted being the 24 frames a second being the standard. Is that they had 24 cameras shot up and they all shot. Is that the story, Tom? You probably know more about that than I do.
Well, it has to do with, they were testing out. It stemmed from that, but they knew you had to have, the idea to make motion flow through pictures has been around for many years, many years. So then they just took the idea, okay, we have this thing, where you can take pictures, but if we can take X amount of pictures in sequential and then, project it at the right speed, it will create the illusion of motion. Well, they tried it at various different frame rates, and the one that worked the best was 24 frames per second because it worked with the size of the film, and it gave us the right kind of motion blur that the eye sees, because it basically emulates what the eye sees best. Because you put you flash your hand in front of your face, you see a motion blur.
Yeah.
But now if you're doing a 60 frames per second, you don't see that motion blur, because those frames are filling in the motion. And that's why, it drives me nuts. If you have that motion smoothness shit turned on your TV, do yourself a favor and turn that crap off. It is the worst shit ever. And every director in the world will thank you for that, because it is horrible looking.
Yeah, I don't know why they have to go and destroy their own productions by doing that. But yeah. Or like the TV manufacturers, why they have to set that crap to be
standard. And it's usually set as the way you get it when you get it out the box. So most people never even know to turn it off.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
And if we're doing nature video or something like that, 60 frames per second, fine. You're doing something like that, news, fine. You're filming something that requires you to capture that kind of a, detail, go ahead. But when it comes to film, part of the illusion is the motion. If you have too smooth of motion, it just doesn't work. And I think that was a problem with Gemini Man, because the movie was fine. And if you watch it in 24 frames, the movie's fine. But if you watch it in that 60 frames per second shit, it looks god awful. God awful.
Everything in 60 frames per second looks god awful. I mean, that's seriously like 60 frames per second. That can only ever be used for documentaries and porn. Yeah, and that's pretty much it.
Well, yeah, like Dirty Soul, they brought up video games, fine, nature stuff, sports, especially for sports with a ball, because it's harder to see the ball if you got the motion blur, and you lose it easier. But we've gotten way too far into this. But no, I'm a staunch advocate for 24 frames per second. That's it.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely, 24 or bust. And with that, we had a few more things, but anyway, you certainly got your money's worth for that Amazon question. And Trencher1375 sent us 50 Norwegian krona saying, I hope folks wise up and don't buy streaming services before the whole show is out. I hate having to wait. No more old media rules, please. Yeah, exactly. Modern solutions or modern problems require modern solutions. And in the age of streaming war, yeah, that may very well be waiting. And so on that note, Thanatos Felicitas asks, did Cobra Kai have karate in it? That's a question for you, Rob.
The Cobra Kai. Oh, well, is that a trick question?
That's why I said sadly no. Actually, do we have how many more super chats do we have?
Just give me 1 second to refresh again, because I
wanna
have
get
like
that video
on
ready,
screen
Rob.
here. Let's just give me 1 second here. We've gotten a few since. Yeah, we have a few to go through.
Okay, well, I was gonna say Rob can get that video ready too, if not.
Yeah, but we can wait a little bit with that still. And on the note of Cobra Kai, Tiberius Monk says, Cobra Kai is one of the most shockingly impressive shows in a decade. Season 4 can't come soon enough. Love this show. /Karate High. And also on the note of Cobra Kai, Willie Woodward says, I got to get around to seeing Cobra Kai. Rob's trailer actually got me interested in seeing it. Yeah, there you go. There's a popular demand for Rob's trailer there. So I look forward to seeing that a little bit later on. And then Roger Haynes says, well, Cobra Kai is popular. Do you think Cobra Kai was more successful because there was less pressure on it at the beginning? Well, that's a great question. Tom,
Actually,
what do you
there
think
was
about
probably
this?
more pressure on it because if you check out our documentary, which I'm probably sure you have, Roger Haynes, I don't want to assume you have though, but if you haven't, you should check it out. Basically, the guys who made the show were under a lot of pressure, mainly from Ralph Macchio, because he was not going to just sign on to anything. They needed answers for everything. They needed to have this whole thing figured out. They needed to have any possible answer to any question that Macchio had. They had to have it ready because he didn't want this to just be another pit, something that doesn't go beyond a pitch. And because he's been pitched a lot of ideas over the years, and he was very protective of the legacy, and he obviously got the right feeling in it, and it paid off in spades because these guys knew what they were doing, and we've gotten this wonderful show. I mean, it's in the contender right now for probably my greatest show of all time, next to South Park. I mean, it's getting up there at this point. I mean, it's on them to fuck it up from here on out, but I mean, they're going to have a tough time doing. They'd have to do some major shit to really lose me at this point. No, I do think they were under a lot more pressure as far as the creative side of things, but as far as being under the radar with YouTube, I think that's where they got away with doing, not adhering to the woke shit.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how season 4 is for that reason. But yeah, we shall see. And as pertains to our recent discussion on 48 frames per second, Adam Wofford says, so my friend told me 24 frames is perfect for movies and TV series with special effects, but 48 or higher isn't. But movies and TV shows that don't have special effects is perfect for 48 frames. Maybe. I don't
get away with it.
Yeah.
I don't see the use in a lot of it, but like I mean, people probably wouldn't flinch as much if you used it for like sitcoms and soap operas and stuff like that, because that's why soap operas and sitcoms have been done on video for so long now that people are used to seeing it that way, because video shoots at a different frame rate, so you don't have the same kind of motion blur. And that's why people compare, the high frame rate to soap operas, for that very reason.
Yeah, that's it, because it looks so cheap and crap. That's a digital 48 frames look. Cheap crap. That's what it looks like.
Well, it started video and then it switched over to digital, yeah.
Yeah. And Culture Casino sent us a super sticker. Thanks so much. It was great to be on your show yesterday. So that's awesome.
Always fun to hang
And
out with him.
yeah. And then we have stuff that are no longer on screen. So getting back to that, then we have Christian Coralejo says, for some dollars, for some weird reason, I imagine the Muppets singing Koalas in the Rain.
Koalas in the rain.
Song I cannot claim to have heard. And
Oh, you
then,
haven't?
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given, koala.
yeah, actually, I had heard. I just didn't
I was gonna
connect
say, yeah.
right away.
I was
But
gonna
yeah,
say, I thought you had.
yeah, I have. And then carrying on the anime discussion.
Again.
Yeah, again, Nintendo Power says for $10. The problem with Cutie's comparison is that it's an anomaly in any genre. There's no mainstream anime that's as overt as working with minors. They mainly target younger boys with shonen like One Piece. Yeah, okay, yeah, great stuff with animation there. But again, I'm going to leave that for all you guys in the comments. I'm just going to say that my completely lacking interest in checking out anything anime remains completely lacking. And then Spider Unlimited says for $4.99, thank you so much, forget pulled pork. Andre and Tom need some L and B Spinoni Gardens for a real treat. If you say so. And Mr. Tickletrunk says, two other must-watch Kermit videos, Needle in the Hay and Closer by 9 Inch Nails. Do yourself a favor and check them out as well.
We'll do. I think I may have seen the Closer one, but we'll check them out.
Yeah. And Adam Wofford says, probably in relation to Lord of the Rings on Amazon, I think I will skip this one. Read the books again. Yeah, that's the beauty. That will always have the books.
And there's some great audio versions as well, and they did over the years as well too. So you don't have to necessarily read them.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Muppets, though, I always thought that Gonzo would have done a good version of Hurt, and it's more fitting because he likes to hurt himself. He's a sadomasochist. So,
oh, good stuff. Nice, healthy entertainment.
Myself today. Anyway, sorry. Going on.
Yeah.
We had way too much Muppet stuff last night. We had fun.
So I can see. Now we're almost caught up. Dirty Soul Monkey says, do we think once CBS rebrands as Paramount Plus that we will get better Trek or even a new Mission Impossible TV series? Or is that Cruise's baby at the moment? Yeah, guys, what do you think about it? Let's begin with you, Rob. Do you think that we'll get better Trek or even a new Mission Impossible TV series once we get Paramount Plus?
I think we're more likely to get a Mission Impossible TV series. As for better Trek, I doubt it. I really do. It's just so far gone right now.
Yeah, interestingly enough, most people don't realize or didn't think about it, but Mission Impossible is also another one of those shows like Star Trek that was under the separation. The show was in one place and the movies were in another. Even though they started in the same universe, they diverged. Now they're back together, though. Do I think we'll get a Mission Impossible TV series? Oh, yeah. I think there's a good chance. Will it happen before the movie series is done? I don't know. Will it be connected to the movie series? Maybe. I think that Marvel has opened up the world a little differently to where there's not such a separation between television and movies anymore, even though now they're just finally getting themselves kind of in unison. At the same time, as far as Trek goes, Trek's got a bit more of an upper battle to deal with. Like, we've talked about this at nausea, and I think Trek could be saved. It's just going to take a lot of saving. That's a tall order. What do you think, Andre?
I don't think there's any saving for Trek as long as Secret Hideout and Bad Robot are in the picture in any capacity whatsoever. you can absolutely save Trek, but it's going to require a completely new creative team that has no connection to anything that was done before, that don't have to try to preserve anything out of any kind of misplaced loyalty. You need to make a clean break, and the only one that can do that are a completely new creative team and a completely new production company. Until that happens, nothing is really gonna change. I mean, yeah, with Strange New Worlds, which is happening, then it's different showrunner. Maybe it'll be better, but fundamentally, it's still a product of a Secret Hideout.
Yeah.
It can be better, but only by degrees, not by magnitudes, which is what is required. As for the Mission Impossible thing, I honestly would not be surprised if after the current movie, which is currently filming, if they decide that you know what, we kind of had to do this one movie because the wheels were already in motion, but from here on out, the market for such high-end, big budget blockbuster movies just isn't there. But we can do a high-end TV streaming and then do a different section of like a TV spin-off or something like that with Cruise in a limited capacity. It's his babe right now. It is. So I think that both of those are possible, but it's going to happen. A lot has to happen but don't count any of them out. But we're closer to Mission Impossible TV series than we are to Star Trek being good again. That I will say.
The upside with Star Trek, though, compared to something like Star Wars, is Star Trek is interconnected in a sense that if like they could reboot it tomorrow and it could have more potential than say Star Wars. Star Wars, they got themselves into a rut, but The Mandalorian proves that it can be done. You can get yourself out, and Star Trek could do that. But I think you're right, Andre, and I'm sure Rob agrees that the main thing is you got to get rid of the infection first.
Yeah.
You got to cut it off, and then once you get that taken care of, maybe you can grow a new arm, but you more or less just got to worry about taking care of the rest of the body first.
Exactly. And Peter Hahn wonders, is Tom doing more James Bond films?
Yeah, I know you guys, that's been real popular, and a lot of people have been asking me in private, and I've been trying to get with Robert, but we have to be patient right now because he's dealing with, Tango Shalom, and there's some other projects he's got. And we're going to definitely get back to them. Maybe we'll do a double shot the next time around or something. But the way it sounds is we got time. So they just pushed back Bond again. So exactly. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we will resume that. Maybe it's something we'll have to work out with him until he's less busy, that it's a little bit more sporadic or something, but we'll see. Andre,
do you think they're going to get to a point where MGM is going to say, screw it, we got to take what we can get for Bond?
Yes. There's going to come a point. At some point, though, I think it's going to it's always like something that they have to measure against each other, because they have like this thing. Okay, we cannot do anything for less than this amount right here. We need 600 million is the thing that happened.
Basically, I've heard the breaking is 500.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly
that's even. That's dead even. Like kind of thing.
That's dead even. But let's just say that. That no one is willing to pay more than 300, and there's a pretty big gap in between the two. But at some point, there's going to be like, okay, so then of course you can gamble on the world reopening and on theatrical release and stuff. And what are you going to get in a theatrical release? Are you going to get 300 million there? Because then you're left with 100 million. And if your break even was 500, then you just lost more than you would have if you sold it to someone for 300. So at some point, I think it's going to be a matter of them realizing there's no way that we're going to get the money that we wanted for this. Breaking even is no longer an option. At this point, it's a matter of making some kind of deal with our financiers and reducing the blow softening the blow as much as possible.
Well,
That's what I think is going to happen. But again, I could be wrong. But that's what I think.
Supporting what our source said about it. Later, it came out that the offer on the table from Apple, I believe, and it was $450 million, and they turned it down. And that was what I was told too, basically. So they ain't going to take no less than X amount. They started out, I believe, at 7 is what they wanted, and then they quickly dropped it to 6. And then I heard, I guess, that they would have gone as low as 550, but they were lowballing them. Nobody wanted to offer more than 4 or 450. From what I heard, I think Apple offered 450 and HBO offered 4.
Oh, I think that there's a point there where they're going to have to meet, because I don't think that like, how much do you think that movie can make at the box office in a year from now?
Well, it can't. There's no that's the problem. And
there's the issue. At some point, it's a matter of just stopping the bleeding and cutting the losses.
No, I agree with Michael in the chat. They should have took the 450 and then banked on the video helping out in the end. But go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
But the longer it stays out, the longer they hold out, the more word's going to start circulating that this is a disaster. That's the other thing working against them.
Plus, they're losing $1 million every month just in interest. But here's the thing that Andre, the banks. Here's the thing with all the loans and stuff. This is the first time in history since probably like the Depression that movies, and even then probably not, because I think they actually had a boost then, that the studios have ever been in a position where the banks are probably looking at it like they're not going to foreclose on anything. They're not going to, or not foreclose, but whatever the word is on any of the loans.
Foreclose.
Is it? Okay. But they're not going to come after them. They're going to allow these to go out. They're probably going to give them some great interest rates. They know the bailouts are coming. I've seen enough stuff. I was doing a little research last night into some of this shit. And I think that the banks and all the lenders will be understanding for at least another year or so at the most. That's what my estimates are going by, what this guy was saying in this one video and some of the stuff I was reading. And he kind of does a lot of the same stuff we do. And he sees things very similar and the same kind of reporting that we do. So I'm thinking that, I think he's about right. Because, you look at it like a business. If you're a car dealership and you're having a bad winter, chances are if you've had 10, 15 good years before that, the bank is not going to come after you just that one year. They're going to work with you because they're going to see that it's going to benefit them more in the long run. So a lot of these studios are in good shape. MGM, though, is not in good shape. That's the problem. And the only other problem with that is Bond is all they fucking have. They have nothing else. Like, they got a little bit of money from Bill and Ted, but they don't own Bill and Ted. They just distributed that. And that's kind of the same thing here with Bond, but they have, and even this, I can't remember what the percentage was they have invested in this, but for them, it's a big amount, but for any other studio, it'd be peanuts.
Yep. That's exactly right, and that changes the dynamics here completely. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, because no one really knows, and they don't even know themselves.
I'm even curious MGM's going to exist in a year, because
I
don't think they're worth a shit on their own. I think they're worth more if they parse whatever out they own, like RoboCop and stuff like that, sell that off individually, and then sell what's left of their catalog off to, say, Warner for a couple billion and call it a day. Yeah. I really would if I were that. It's sad, but maybe sell the logo to Warner or something while they're at it. I mean, they're going to end up getting bought up by somebody like Warner anyway, so it's a given.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. That there's no way that they can sustain completely on their own. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. And then Stephen Otten wonders if there were a Mission Impossible TV reboot, who's left in Hollywood to do it right?
That's my next good question there. That's a good question too, Stephen Otten, because doesn't Bad Robot have some kind of stake in that for a while yet, I'm imagining?
But you know what I think? I think that ironically, Mission Impossible is like the one franchise or one of the few franchise where they actually would be a pretty decent fit. I mean, J.J. Abrams and his Bad Robot guys, including Kurtzman as co-writer next to Orsi, who's like the good one, they did pretty decent with that third movie. That in many ways saved the franchise. I mean, it's because of Mission Impossible Part 3 that the franchise is there today.
Oh, very true.
For that particular franchise, Bad Robot might not be a bad fit. They'd probably be pretty good for that.
I think the reason, well, here's the thing is, Mission Impossible isn't like Star Trek or Star Wars or anything. They don't have like a main guy. I mean, yeah, they had a couple of main guys in the main show, but like it was never like they're not like a Spock or a Kirk kind of thing. You know what I mean? Which is funny because what's his face? Leonard Nimoy was on the show for a while, but I digress. I think that's where they got away with it easier, because if you watch the first movie, if you know anything about the original TV show, like all the characters from the original show get killed in the first movie. And the bad guy is the main guy from the original show, and that's why the original actor wouldn't return, because he refused to play himself as a bad guy. So instead, they got what's his face, Angelina Jolie's dad,
John Voight.
John Voight, thank you. So yeah, it has less to lose, I guess, is a better way of looking at it. But yeah, you're right, Andre. I think you got a point there. Mission Impossible lends itself more to the bad reboot flashiness.
Yeah, anyway. I think that a TV series produced by Bad Robot of Mission Impossible, that actually be pretty okay. Ironically, that would be pretty okay.
It has the least to lose.
That it does. And Roger Haynes says, Swedish chef sings Chandelier. It's also pretty funny. And Drunken Mary kept playing it over and over again during a shenanigans stream.
Oh Lord, I better check that out one of these days.
That sounds like a good time.
The Swedish Chef just isn't the same though without Jim. So, but anyway,
the Swedish chef who sounds like a Norwegian.
Bork, bork, bork.
That's like the funny thing.
My favorite one of his was the flame is on fire in the movie.
The
flame is on fire.
Flip, 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 flip. That's a good one. And then we have a couple of super chats that are now off the screen. But Adam Wofford says, okay, a crossover Muppets and Porgs with a Dune backdrop.
Oh, for fuck's
Muppets
sake.
filling in for the characters, and the Porgs are the sandworms.
Okay, Andre needs to know a little bit of background on this. Last night we were talking about where the Muppets could go from where they're at, and I said, well, they've done, just basic Muppet movies. They've done like the fairy tale kind of thing. They've done the Treasure Island, classic literature thing. So why
they haven't done Around the World with the Muppets in 80 Days.
Now you're getting to where I'm getting to. They could do something like that, but also that's the next part. I said, well, the next thing would be they just need to do movie parodies. Like just do straight up movie parodies, like Muppet Ghostbusters and Muppet, like that kind of a thing. So that's where all these things are coming from. Just so you know. Then the Porg thing started on the High Council, so now they've crossed over.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like live stream crossovers in terms of ideas generated, brilliant stuff. Yeah. And then it's not something I can bring up on screen. Sorry about that. We'll have to blame StreamYards for it. But anyway, Camille Villegas, I think that's how you pronounce it, sent us $20. Thank you so much. And he says, what do you think about giving Seth MacFarlane a chance with Star Trek? Would he be to Star Trek what Favreau was to Star Wars?
Oh, hell yeah. We've been singing that for years now, ever since the first season of the Orville. And I think it took you a little time to warm up to the Orville, didn't it, Andre?
Yeah, I wasn't sold on like the first episode, and after I saw the first episode, which did not blow me away, then I waited like a couple of months before I saw the rest of them. But then when I got into it, or really when the series found its stride, and it was like the back-to-back of the social social media instant judging episodes and the trans thing on that
About a girl.
yeah, exactly, that, like, those two episodes right there, they blew me away, and that's the best TV I've seen for years, and it's the best Star Trek I've seen since The Next Generation at its finest, or even Deep Space Nine at its finest. So yeah, at that point I was completely sold with the series, and I was a big fan from that moment out, and I can't wait for season 3.
Yeah, and I got to imagine, I think we've all kind of said this too, but we all got to kind of imagine this is probably pretty close to what Seth had in mind when he had proposed an idea to the guys at Star Trek or Paramount or what have you. I have a feeling it may not have been as goofy or funny, but I'm sure this is probably what he proposed. It was like, we're not the first ship, we're not the second ship, we're generally the last ship you want to call, kind of thing. But they're also a group of people who are really striving to be better than they are. It holds a lot of the Star Trek mentalities and the heart of Star Trek and really the soul of Star Trek. I mean, we've said it time and time again. You can slap Star Trek over the title and we would think this was Star Trek well before any of the other shit we've gotten in the last 10, 20 years now almost.
Indeed. Yeah, like, it's right now the Orville is the real Star Trek. That is what carries the torch. And I think that if he were to be given the head of, or the position of running Star Trek going forward, McFarlane would be fantastic at that. Because just look at what he can do with the parody.
Well, that's what he always wanted to do. He said, I've always wanted to do Star Trek.
That passion paired with someone who is incredibly talented in his own right, that would have been a match made in heaven. But instead, look at what we got.
Well, the traditional people, actually, the traditional TV entertainment people always hated Seth MacFarlane. There was a Rolling Stone article about that. The timeline of hate for Seth MacFarlane, I think it was called. It's just like, kid, go away, kid, run along, make your little cartoons about fart jokes.
Well, and you can attest to this, Rob. I was never a fan of him before the show. In fact, I've always said I didn't like Family Guy. I feel about Family Guy like Cartman does.
It just references, it's, yeah.
Remember the time, remember the time, remember the time.
You think that's bad? Yeah.
Yeah, you think that's bad, you think that's bad, you think that's bad.
Yeah, I didn't like that particular South Park episode, but yeah, that's me.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Especially when he gets Bart involved. And then you realize that Cartman is really the worst. Because Bart thinks he's bad. He's like, Cartman's just like, oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. Okay, that particular part was good, but yeah.
Oh, that, and I just love, like, I agree with the whole entire thing, with the whole idea of Family Guy, and then the fact that it's written by dolphins, that was even better. Like, the jokes,
whatever balls they retrieve.
Yeah, whatever balls they pick. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know. That was South Park at its height for me. So,
yeah. And then we have on screen. Yeah, we mentioned this one from Roger Haynes.
But I do like American Dad though a bit better. I haven't seen it in years, but
I think American Dad was actually funnier than Family Guy for a while.
Yeah, that's, I mean, because the most the jokes come out of the show, what's going, or the story and the moments in the show, not a bunch of remember the time or what do you think that bad, that kind of crap.
There was an episode of American Dad where Stan finds an old television. It only plays one show called Nighthawk's Hideaway, which is a play on Playboy After Dark, and the show keeps changing, and anybody who discovers it becomes obsessed with it, and there's a portal in the back of the TV through that brings you into the show, and you can't leave. But obviously, he finds a way out. But it's actually a very well written episode.
Yeah, cool. Speaking of episodes, Kyle Dawson, and again, I cannot bring this up on screen, apologize for that, but Kyle Dawson says, John Wick versus Mission Impossible versus 007. Which TV show will win? Under the assumption that all of these are TV shows, I guess.
Well, John Wick is supposed to have that one show coming out. It's not, I think he's only going to be in it for a cameo, but it's about the hotel. Then what were the other two?
Mission Impossible and 007.
Oh, you see, Bond probably would fare better in a show nowadays, but they'll never.
Well, it would have to be long form.
Unless they did it, unless you're talking like a very prestigious. No, I just don't see them doing Bond as a series on
Well,
TV.
the budget would be too high.
Exactly. Well, not just that. It's just the idea. They would see it as it would devalue the property. Because that's where people get into arguments with me about Star Wars when I talk about how much Star Wars was worth when George Lucas sold it. They don't take into consideration how the property had devalued. Even if it was still popular with certain things, it didn't have any movies. So it wasn't worth as much. Movies are the topmost of the popmost. I mean, of course, merchandising goes along with that, but I mean, that's where they figure and factor into these kind of things where how they're worth so much. And that's where George Lucas tried to get the movies off the ground, or at least in pre-production, so he could make the company worth a little bit more. Andre knows what I'm talking about. He could probably explain a little better, but yeah.
Yeah. But as far as the question itself, I think that I'd probably be more interested in a John Wick series at this point. Of the three, because I never really liked the Mission Impossible movies. I never saw the original TV series, so that one is out right there. 007, I think, kind of is a little bit past its use by date. You could do it really, really well, of course, in a long-form TV series, but I'll go with John Wick because that one is for today. So that would be.
But not to
my
pick ahead here, but Mills does remind us that Bond is public domain in Canada. So an R-rated Bond series actually based on books. Bond is public domain in the 60s. It can work. Yeah. So, well.
Yeah, that's the thing. You'd have to set it in the 60s. I agree with that, to make it like the. To make it topical, or not to make it topical per se, but to make it contemporary with proper Bond.
All you fan filmmakers, though, if you're a Bond fan, go to Canada, get her done.
Yeah,
do what you can there. Now you couldn't release it anywhere but Canada, but hey, internet works.
The internet knows no limits. That's just release it on a Canadian server without geo-blocking it, and you're good.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Or you can use Surfshark.
You know that, Rob? You could go make a Bond movie right now in Canada with script.
No, believe me, the Bond movie I would make wouldn't be good. Believe me.
Oh, it probably would be the best Bond movie ever. It'd be full of tits and guns and karate.
Yeah, people keep asking me what would I do if I had to make a Bond movie. I said I'd film with tits, guns, karate, more like drinking, casual sex, and gambling, and cars and hot chicks, and it'd be hailed and like
basically if Quentin Tarantino made a Bond movie.
Yeah, it would be hailed as the greatest Bond movie ever or the worst thing in cinematic history.
And I say
that's awesome.
It would have great music too, because music, and that's one other thing that's a Tarantino trope.
Yeah, sounds good.
That's where you'd spend all the money.
And it would be money well spent.
That's funny because that's where a lot of money for Tarantino's movies goes.
Rob, we got to shoot this scene. Shut up! I'm putting the soundtrack together.
Yeah.
And moving on from there,
you can't just take the cassette out of the car like Johnny Lawrence.
And moving on from there, Kit Kat says for £5 thank you so much. Strange New Worlds will have Discovery's degraded, trashed version of Spock in it, and they will go after Kirk. No Star Trek fan should go near it. Yeah, it should be noted, like those rumors that we heard about a gay Captain Kirk. Well, actually, by Captain Kirk, I believe it was the technical thing, but yeah.
Oh my!
That was in relation to Strange New Worlds.
The only thing we have that could be our savior, and I hate saying this because it's like putting your options in the devil, is that Akiva Goldsman don't care. And from what we heard about Akiva Goldsman, he's kind of a piece of shit anyway. I don't want to use that term loosely, I guess. But I don't think he gives a shit so much about the woke stuff. Who knows if some of this other stuff wasn't put out there to almost sabotage Strange New Worlds from people's perspectives.
But the thing about Kiva Goldsman is whatever he does, he's not good at it.
I know that's the problem. It's like I hate his problem isn't the woke issue. It's just that he sucks.
Pretty much, yeah. He's written some decent things when working with highly skilled filmmakers, but on his own. And if he didn't have like an A-list director with him, he's produced nothing but crap.
But no, he's like the farthest thing from woke that I know of in that group of guys over there. And I wouldn't be surprised. Here's the thing, and the reason I say that is Strange New Worlds, we were, from what we gathered, and me and a few other people did a little investigating on this. That was Kiva Goldsman's baby, if I could talk. And he did that underneath Kurtzman's nose, I guess. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Kurtzman's not a fan of this show. And I wouldn't be surprised if putting out articles like that Kirk one wouldn't be above him to try and sabotage the idea of this show. Because look at the show outside of Mrs. X, John Stamos. What's her name? What's her name, Rob? You know.
The one from the X-Men?
Yeah.
Rebecca Romaine Stamos.
Yeah, Rebecca Romaine Stamos Slomo. Besides her, it's all made up of white boys. So I have a strong feeling that Kurtzman had nothing to do with this show, because otherwise it would be starring two white guys for one. So yeah, this is one I'm kind of interested in seeing what the hell happens here. It could be gloriously fucking bad, but in the right ways, unlike STD and shit like that. It could be just gloriously bad, and not because it's all woke. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it also has a chance to be good, but I doubt it.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I have a feeling though that this one may be free of some of the woke bullshit. I doubt it, but
it's still coming out from Secret Hideout, and Alex Kurtzman, who runs Secret Hideout, even if he doesn't run that particular show, has made it very clear that to him, Star Trek, all Star Trek, is but a platform.
Well, and yeah, I don't want to get too deep into it, but like there could be, and I hate bringing it, but there could be a little Cold War going on in Star Trek too. So it's hard to say. We know for a fact there is a little bit with what's her face coming in Watts. She's shaking
Emma
shit
Watts. Yeah. That's of course an X factor.
And I think I think that factors into this actually, and I do feel like that's part of the reason that we heard Kurtzman left in a hissy and then returned, because I think Goldsman he went over his helmet.
It's such a shame about that returning part.
I know.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on from there. We had Aaron Rodgers, who says, "How is MGM still a studio, but Morgan Creek and United Artists failed?" Tom,
Morgan
this is your
Creek?
property.
I think Morgan Creek, who bought them recently, so they're technically still kind of a
They're working on their Exorcist reboot / sequel / remake / no one knows what the hell it is.
They got bought by somebody not too long ago. I can't remember who it was, if it was just some firm or if it was some conglomerate or what it was. But yeah, you're going to see anything that Morgan Creek has in their repertoire or whatever you want to call it. Their catalog is going to get revamped. That includes everything from Exorcist to Major League to Young Guns. That's why we've been hearing about Young Guns 3. That's a plausibility, folks. And I'm not fucking kidding. And also look at Ace Ventura possibly getting rebooted. I'm not fucking kidding. If not, unless they can talk, if they can talk Jim Carrey into coming back for Ace Ventura 3, I'd be surprised. Because there's a quote out there where if he says, "I'm doing Ace Ventura 5, somebody fucking shoot me if I ever do one." So like, yeah, I don't think he ever wants to do another one of those ever again. Not because he hates the character. It's just, he's done it, been there, did that. He basically was done with it with the second one. He got his payday and he got the fuck out. It's like, I like those movies, don't get me wrong, but Morgan Creek is definitely in play. MGM, they ain't got shit. Morgan Creek's technically got more properties under their belt. I think, doesn't Morgan Creek also have something to do with Princess Bride too, if I'm not mistaken? No, that's Castle Rock. Never mind, I think. There's another property Morgan Creek has that I'm overlooking, and I can't think of what it is. Because they've been bouncing around for years.
Morgan Creek was a record label for a very short time.
They started, because when they started in movies, they started over at Paramount, then they bounced to Warner Brothers for many, many years. And I don't know where they acquired The Exorcist in that mix, because Warner used to own it, and now they do. But now here's the thing: they might have landed over at Sony, because now that I think about it, or they might have a distribution deal with Sony, because now that I think about it, they just re-released the Ace Ventura movies, and they're on Sony instead of Warner. So go figure on that one. But yeah, the MGM's dead. They're just a label now. The only thing MGM has that's worth a shit is their fucking catalog, and most of that's gone. Like anything that's pre, 1960s, Rob? Ted Turner owns outside of the Bond collection. Might even pre-1970, actually.
I mean, there was a lot of stuff like Monty Python, Holy Grail was on MGM. I think.
Yeah, but I don't know if they still own the distribution.
I don't think they do.
Because I think Holy Grail is owned by Sony. Sony released the last.
They got a lot of United Artists stuff but at the same time,
MGM is UA. Like there's no more UA anymore. Yeah. Well, Rocky is the only other franchise I think they have anything in on, and I think Stallone has a big part of that, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he does. At least I hope he does.
If not, he should go after that 35-year deal because he's the sole creator.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Other than that, they don't have anything. They own the distribution rights on anything they've had since probably 1970 through now, which includes things like RoboCop 1 through 3, Bill and Ted, Excellent Adventure, and Bogus Journey, I believe. But those are actually, I'm not even sure on, because that was Orion. So like a lot of things under Orion are kind of up in the air. RoboCop was under Orion, but I think they own that lock, stock, and barrel. That's probably their biggest franchise besides Bond. And that hasn't done shit. I mean, it can't be worth that much. If they sold RoboCop right now, what do you think it'd be worth, Andre? I don't even think it'd be worth $1 billion.
RoboCop right now?
Yeah.
It's not even 100 million.
Really?
I mean, yeah. I'm seriously, okay. Because
then let's buy that motherfucker. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, how much like RoboCop merchandising was there for the last movie? Because there was a fair amount of merchandise back in the late 80s and early 90s, and you have like you can argue with like the everything that's been in the past, but then you have the 2014 movie, which kind of underperformed. There was no merchandise to speak of. There wasn't any hype.
Original merchandise is pretty hot, but yeah, you're right. It's probably even less than that now. That's
the case. That's what I'm saying. Because you have to like think of, okay, if someone were to buy it, then within a period of say 5 to 10 years, they should be able to not only break even, but make a profit on that investment. Now, if any studio were to pay $100 million for RoboCop today, do you think there's any chance that they could monetize it so much that after everything that they have invested has paid for itself, they will still be left with $100 million pure profit?
If and only if you Cobra Kai that motherfucker.
Yeah, you'd have to Cobra Kai it.
You have the proof with the remake. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and I would say that that RoboCop is a franchise that's very ripe for the Cobra Kai treatment. I mean, get Peter Weller back, and it would be freaking fantastic. So that I'd be all over Cobra Kaiing RoboCop. But at the same time, I don't see it worth $100 million.
They could actually, a better route than doing a movie would be selling it as a TV series, because then that
Yeah.
100 million would come back.
Yeah, selling it as a Cobra Kai. That's like the only way that they could do it. That way, then yeah, maybe. But that's the only possible business model where they would get like some serious money for it.
And it would work. If you get Peter Weller to do the voice, you just get a stand-in.
He came back to do the voice for Mortal Kombat, where you had like this RoboCop add-on, and it was fantastic.
I'm willing to bet Blomkamp could have gotten. I think he was more than he hinted that he was more than willing to come back, but the fucking MGM fucked that whole thing up.
Yeah, that they did. Screw MGM. They deserve what they're getting.
And if anything Neil Blomkamp was made for besides Aliens, it was definitely fucking RoboCop. Like,
yes.
Imagine
him Cobra Kaiing RoboCop.
That's what he was going to do. Well, not actually. He was going to more so not just Cobra Kai it, but he was going to ignore the sequels. I think he was even going to bring back Lewis, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Which I would not be against at this point. Fuck it, because 2 and 3 are a fucking mess.
You could salvage 2.
You can salvage 2. You're right, but the problem
all you have to do is grab 3.
Well, the problem is how intertwined they are. That's the issue you have. But yeah, because 2 and 3 are technically the same story. They're based on the story that Miller and I can't remember who else wrote together. And if you really want to know what RoboCop 2 and 3 were supposed to be, get that fucking it was a series of books, but I think they put it together as a graphic novel because I have it now.
It's available as an omnibus. I have it too.
Frank Miller's RoboCop is fucking amazing. That's what we were supposed to get. And it would have been balls to the wall, kick ass. And yeah, it had some issues that are still present, but it's still better than what we got.
Very much so. So yeah, actually, I changed my mind. You can absolutely give it to Blomkamp, let him take some Frank Miller inspiration and Cobra Kai it. Then it's worth more than 100 million. Boom, go.
Yeah, that's what you do. Get Frank Miller on board to kind of rework his idea a little bit, because it was in the right direction. It was definitely in the right direction. And the bones of the structure are still there in 2 and 3, but it lost all its edge by part 3.
Yeah. And it also lost Peter Weller. So yeah, you can keep part 2 canon, but if it's not Peter Weller behind the mask, then ignore it.
Yeah, actually, I have a soft spot for part 2. So actually,
the
RoboCop 2 shirt.
You can keep part 2. Part 2 is okay. Part 2 is okay. It's not so bad. I mean, it's not good, but it's not so bad. There's some good parts.
Oh no, it's nowhere
enough to salvage.
The first film, and I know, like RoboCop, the first film is arguably in my top 10, if not my top 5 films of all time. So, that's how strongly I feel about that. So,
yeah. And Joe's World says that there was a RoboCop TV series and a cartoon series. There were 2 RoboCop TV series, actually. Yep. You had the Prime Directives, which was a huge waste of opportunity, because that could and should have been like an HBO thing. And instead it was like this low budget thing with I think so. And it was like really low budget, and I found like no disrespect to the actor, but he of all the actors behind the RoboCop mask, he was not the best, let's say. Oh, and the music was horrible. I had some of the most awful music I ever heard in RoboCop.
Well, you know what Directives. They didn't fix the suit either. They used the same suit from Peter Weller, and it does not fit the actor at all.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, it's awful stuff.
Aside from the fact that he just does. Yeah, the actor just. The actor could be fine. I can't even remember who it was, but
no, there were several of them, in the third movie and in the 2 series.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they did 2 different series plus 2 different animated series as well.
2. Yeah, that's related too. Yeah. Well, there you go. And not a single of them was any good.
No,
only the 2 original movies.
Well, the one animated series, from my recollection, and again, this is because I haven't seen it in probably 30 years.
Probably.
I think the one animated series wasn't too bad, but the rest of them I think were utter garbage. Because there was the one, if I
probably
remember,
left to your best left to your memory. If you were to rewatch it right now,
probably. But I do recall one of them actually had like Lewis, and I think even had Clarence in it, if I'm not mistaken. And wow. If a lot of the characters from the movie, even though it was completely tamed down, but if I'm wrong, somebody please correct me. But I could have swore one of them at least had like Lewis and stuff in it, and it wasn't so bad, but it was at least more in the vein of the original idea, but very tamed down.
Not quite enough. But anyway, moving on. Culture Casino says the Sia, I don't know how it's pronounced, the Sia cover of Chandelier by Swedish chef Gold.
Yeah, I think we read that one already, but that reminds me to
No,
check.
that was the second one. It was actually two commenting about that. But yeah. And then the Grand Inquisitor says a new Mission Impossible TV show would be about the IMF hunting down domestic right-wing terror cells. Wokeism ain't going away. It's going to be amped up. Oh yeah, you're probably not wrong. But yeah, well, I don't think there's going to be a Mission Impossible series anytime soon.
Yeah, it says the original cartoon had a toy line so you could recreate the movie in all its glory.
Oh yeah, nice one. With like artificial blood spatter and everything.
I remember when that movie was on TV. It was so chopped. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. And then Mark C says, I didn't find Family Guy funny until the first Star Wars episode. That was genius.
Yeah,
now,
so
if only Peter Griffin lived in a van down by the river.
That's a reference to Batwoman.
I know. I saw the videos.
But yeah, those are a little different, the Star Wars ones, because at least those are almost like an entire, what about the remember the time kind of joke. So like you don't get as many of those. Those I remember being a little bit more palatable. Yeah. I mean, the show did have its moments. I've seen a few episodes, don't get me wrong. And Seth, really, I warmed up to him because of the Orville. But I just brought it up as more or less just proof that the show works. The show does have the heart of Star Trek because that's what I gravitated to. Because I have not been a fan of pretty much anything Seth MacFarlane has done. I wasn't even that big fan of Ted. I fucking hate the West movie he did. I did not like it at all. So like I'm not a big fan of his humor. I get it, but I don't like it. But when I saw what he did with Orville, it was almost like a love letter to Star Trek, and it got me. He won me over. So
yeah, there you go. And Mills says, he said that already about the R-rated Bond series. We brought that up as we spoke about it. And Occam's Ninja then says, for $5, did you know that Mikey Spock's backstory was taken from the Trek game Hidden Evil's protagonist, Ensign Sovok?
Not surprised.
I did not know that, but I'm not surprised because they've ripped off freaking everything from everywhere.
They have had nothing original and like that. I think that's probably the biggest of all the bad things of Star Trek Discovery is that they brought absolutely nothing new to the table, and anything that you can conceive as original, they stole from somewhere else.
And they didn't even like package it in a new and exciting way.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awful
stuff.
The
worst thing is now the series is actually at the point where they should have been 3 years ago, and we've said this every single fucking season almost now, but even more so now because there's literally nothing weighing the show down at all for this fourth season. And I care even less. Like I'm in like utter protest. Like you may have a video of me on the floor kicking and screaming, telling Andre I am not watching Star Trek Discovery season 4. Is how bad it'll get. Like I'll fucking throw shit.
And I will answer. You will watch it and you will like it.
No. I will turn into my child.
Oh, anyway. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna sign myself up for that shit. My God, they better come up with something. At this point, I wish they would just go batshit crazy with it so it'd be enjoyable. Like just so it's like, you know what? It's not Star Trek. I don't give a fuck at this point anymore because it's so fucking bad. It's not even bad in that enjoyable way. It's just god awful garbage.
There's absolutely no redeeming features whatsoever.
I mean, at least Batwoman is fucking so like I see at least like Mecca and all the other people who are still doing the reviews. I never got into it, but Rob has watched it, And I listen to them talk about it on Mead and stuff, and it's like, at least Batwoman has some goofy, cringy, bad shit that you can make fun of and stuff in. That
she's living in a van down by the river.
Exactly.
I'm not kidding.
The fun of STD went out the window after the first 3 episodes. After that point, it was just pure dribble and I don't know. I don't want to make
The only good thing about it was that we could have a Mr. H reviews watch it, and then we could laugh at his reactions.
I feel bad about that. I have nightmares about that now, Andre. It haunts me still.
No. You think he has nightmares. He couldn't even finish
I know,
it.
but I feel guilty for putting him through that.
Well, it was my idea, so you can take comfort behind that.
I was still there. Why didn't I stop it? I feel like, what was it, Stan or whatever in that episode of South Park when, I'm not going to say what, but they're getting dolphin love to Indiana Jones. You saw it too, and you didn't do anything.
We all laughed, so let's not deny it.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. It was a nice bonding experience, sharing the pain.
That is one of the greatest South Park episodes ever Free had. The only thing they got wrong is they should have flip-flopped George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. But anyway, I digress. It's still one of the best ones ever.
That's oh my god! Yeah, that scene was also amazing. But yeah. Moving on. Culture Casino says Rob says karate, sex, action, more karate. That's probably a reference to how Rob
That's
would
Rob's
direct
day.
the James Bond movie.
That's Rob's day. At least on TV, anyway. Right, Rob?
Yeah.
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah, no, it was too much for him. Too much awesomeness. And Diego sent us 2 super chats back to back, and he says, "God Emperor, no. Please, no reboot of Ace Ventura. That is peak Carrie, and it should stay so." And then he follows that up with, "Also, Andre, I'm making a list of all 40K novels in Audible. Do you prefer a complete series, omnibuses, or standalone stories?" I would, first of all, it's going to take me a while to get through it, but what I would prefer is a chronological or best
Entry point.
do a selection of the ones that you think are the absolute best and most representative of what 40K is in chronological order. I can't go through everything. It's just not going to happen. But do a selection of some of the best ones in chronological or sensible order, so I get the introduction and get carried through it. That's what I would request there. That's what I would prefer. A best of collection in a sensible order.
There you go.
Yeah. And then Darius Münchhausen says for $5, "Studio executives have got to go. The retirement of all heads of the classic Hollywood era gave us the more experimental films of the 60s and 70s. Need that again."
I'd add the 80s in there a little bit, but
Yeah,
no.
the 80s too.
That's part of what we need. The other part is just that, we've gotten to this point with technology where even on a really slim budget, the stories are going out the window because you don't have to concentrate so much on it. And I always go to Jaws as my prime example. Is Steven Spielberg has a career right now because that fucking shark didn't work. Because if that shark worked, then Jaws would have just been another B movie, and he'd be working on, probably some TV show. So out of necessity comes invention, and out of that invention comes inspiration and better storytelling. And I'm not saying everything should be low budget, but I'm just saying that sometimes you need constraints to create more. And that's where things like Cobra Kai excel, because they don't need flashy animation and all this other shit to tell a story. The story is what's important. And as long as the story's good, you don't need everything else to get you in. I'd rather watch a really, really good story with real shitty effects than Avatar all day long, because to me, Avatar, I've seen that story a million times. I have no desire to see it again. And that takes me back to, I still can't remember if it was Conkle or who it was that said it, but I think, or was it Gary? But I think it might have been Tom that said, he was worried about his movie and how well it was going to play. And he's like, and whoever it was he was talking to, he's like, well, you just got to worry about it being as good as Avengers or Avatar. And he's like, what? He's like, yeah, because people are paying the same amount to see your movie as they're paid to see Avengers or Avatar. So it's got to be just as entertaining, and that's one way to look at it, is you can make a movie that's even far superior to those films story-wise and even more entertaining. I mean, because as much as I love Avengers, I'll watch Goodfellas any day of the week over it. Goodfellas cost a pittance compared to Avengers and Avatar. So go figure why, but the story's that much more engaging. So there you go.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. That's how it is.
Yeah, I know that was a long explanation, but I think I got my point across.
Yeah. And then Stephen Otten says, I've only seen the first 2 episodes of STD, and I don't remember a thing about it. In fact, I forgot while I was watching it. Yeah, I would say that in those first 2 episodes, that's where they got off on the wrong foot already, because honestly, the series doesn't even begin until episode 3. That's where the series, and like those 2 first episodes, they should have been like flashbacks later. They should have been like Christmas specials or something, and not where you start the series.
Recut. Yeah, I think I agree with you, Andre. They should have just been recut in throughout as flashbacks, and most of that shit was unnecessary anyway. So it could have just
what's in the original Star Trek series, the episodes that they recut the cage,
cage into the menagerie or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. The menagerie. They should have given it the menagerie treatment.
Or just not done it.
Yeah, that would have been even better. Like, don't do the whole series. That would have been the best of all.
Yeah. And this is a great anecdote right here. And this is just the father of invention just coming out of necessity. It bothered Stallone so much that they fucked up, and there was a thing that happened for real. They fucked up his poster for the fight. So they actually had a scene where Rocky come in and said that, and the guy's like, nobody's going to care. Kind of thing. But, it's a little moment, but to Just Joe, that moment is one of his favorite moments in the film. So there you go.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
And while going back to Jaws, the Indianapolis speech was one of those speeches that went through many different versions till we got the one we got in the film. But now that to me is like hands down one of the greatest monologues in any movie ever. When he talks about the Indianapolis sinking, it's just, you listen to him for 5 minutes. It's just all Robert Shaw, just not stop. And it's great.
I wanted to see the movie.
I know, right? Well, there is a movie, but it's got Nicolas Cage in it. It's not related to Jaws, but it's...
Oh, it doesn't have to be. Is it a decent movie? Oh, that's not what I wanted to hear.
I know. It's sad, too, because that would be an amazing movie.
I wanted to see even Spielberg make that movie with making an unofficial, or a semi-prequel telling Shaw's story early on.
Right?
Hell out of that.
That's what they wanted to do for Jaws way back when, for Jaws 2 and 3 and so on for many years. So just never happened.
Instead we got Jaws to Revenge and all that dribble.
Yeah, that'd be a great movie though if they could pull it off. God, who would you get to play Quint though? That'd be taller, young Quint. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Sorry.
Yeah.
Moving on.
With super chats, I think we are completely caught up. And then the Jack of all casuals, he says, try the Discovery Channel documentary Ocean of Fear. It's about that event. Okay, cool.
I've seen a couple documentaries on it. But yeah, I got that Blu-ray for the Nicolas Cage one for dirt cheap. So I mean, it's like TV movie kind of level almost. Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, I'll skip it then probably.
It basically covers the bases of what happened.
Yeah. And no, we do have a couple more super chats that we haven't covered yet. Yeah, I missed a couple there. Uh, let's see here. Yeah, and Mitch Thibault says for 20 Canadian dollars, merci beaucoup. I gave up on this tripe 20 minutes into the season 2 premiere. Mikey Spock was having an idiotic back and forth with Captain Pike over the difference in a metaphor and soliloquy, and I walked away forever. Yeah, good call. Yeah, that thing, yeah. Yeah. With that series, you just have to walk away and never look back and leave the watching to us, so you don't have to. That's the
A soliloquy is like a little speech kind of thing.
Yeah. She's made way too many of those, and they're all awful. Every single one of them.
Song and dance is what they kind of call it as a saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. Rob, help me out here. You're the word man.
Soliloquy, yeah. It comes from Shakespeare, a monologue, essentially.
Yeah.
How eloquent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Ballonia one sent us a £2 super chat with no further message, but thanks anyway. We really appreciate the support.
Whoops, sorry.
And, yeah.
You had one there. Go ahead and back to it.
Yeah. And Stephen Otten says there was a TV movie about the Indianapolis starring Stacy Keach that wasn't bad.
I've seen that one 2 years ago.
It's not that she delivers a soliloquy. Just everything stops. Everybody has to pay attention to her while she rambles on about how we need to all listen to her, because if we all listen to Mikey Spock, we'll all be better people because we are Starfleet. No, what she means is I am Starfleet.
Well, and our lovely wrench Natasha has brought up the actual definition for us here. There you go.
Yeah. It's just an act of speaking one's thoughts aloud when by oneself or regardless of any hearers, especially by a character in a play. Oh, she does that all the time.
Yes, indeed.
Because that's not who we are. We're better than this. We're so much better. All of us.
I'm gonna go cry.
Because we are Starfleet.
And then in the very same sentence she'll go, but I'm not Starfleet and we can do something better. I'm gonna kill them all. Fuck them.
Oh,
that's the whole show. It's like scripts right.
Yeah.
They contradict themselves within the same scene sometimes. It's just like, what the fuck?
Oh, Mikey Spock, you're so great, Mikey Spock. Where would we be without you?
It's all your fault we're here.
Yeah, that's
finally though, somebody actually told her off, but she turned out to be right in the end.
Yeah, of course.
Oh
my God! So, don't even get it started. Instead, let's look at what Diego Flores has to say.
Yes.
Okay, Andre, there is no chronological order to 40K because all the stories, including the series, are standalone from one another, but help building the universe as being in constant war. Okay, well, the order that is the most sense from an introductory point of view.
Yeah, good entry.
So best of in best reading order.
Yeah. Don't ask.
I'll check that out.
Maybe someday, but yeah.
Yeah, and again,
I gotta bring this up because I saw it and I don't know what the fuck to think of it. It sounds like batshit crazy nonsense to me.
Super Blubberpuss, what do you guys think of McFarlane wanting to reboot Naked Gun with Liam Neeson? Oh, hell yeah, go for it.
He has a special set of skills.
It's the right guy.
Oh, honestly, you know what? To be honest, though, we're kind of goofing, but no, Liam Neeson does actually have some comedic chops. Have you ever seen the show Extras with Ricky Gervais?
Yes, and he's fantastic in it. Like his audition in there.
He doesn't. The whole joke is that he doesn't get the like. go. I'm sure it's on YouTube. Google Extras Liam Neeson scene. It is so fucking hilarious. I can't even. I'm not even going to try to paraphrase it in any way. Just after we're done, Google it.
You just have to see it.
You have to see it. It's worth.
Yeah. And then you also have to see.
Or not, was it Extras? Which one was it? Not if it wasn't Extras.
No, it was Extras.
Was it extras? Okay.
Yeah, it was extras, and also on extras again. And this is one of Ricky Gervais' series, and another similar scene in it is where he talks.
Oh, it's in Life's Too Short. It's in Life's Too Short, I guess.
Was it? Is it from there? Are you sure?
Could be.
Oh, okay.
Those two shows are so similar that's probably why. Yeah,
they're both fantastic.
Yeah, they're both great.
Incredible.
Yeah, like I almost feel like Life's Too Short is almost like a spin-off of it. It's really because they're almost in like the same universe. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. No, but also like check out the scene with what's the guy playing Ian McKellen. The scene, I think, is from extras, where Ricky Gervais is talking with Ian McKellen about his acting and how he got into character for playing Gandalf in Lord of the Rings, and the method and all of the science behind it, and all the work that an actor has to do to play any character, including an iconic one like Gandalf. Do yourself and check that out because it's fantastic.
That reminds me, I got to watch the Life's Too Short Christmas special thing.
I just thought about that too because I haven't seen it. I wasn't even aware there was one.
Yeah, it's the one thing I haven't watched yet of it, like because it came out after, and I'd seen the first, I think it was 2 seasons or whatever they did of it, and then I saw the movie and I'm like, shit, and I haven't got a chance to watch it yet.
There's 2 seasons and a movie?
It's either 1 or 2 seasons and a movie. Yeah, it's all on Netflix from what I recall. So,
I have to check that out.
Whichever service it is.
Yeah, no, that would be the British service. So, thanks for reminding me. I'm going to Surfshark that and head straight over to the British service.
It may only be
finish up Life's Too Short.
I know there's at least the movie I got to watch yet. So, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
There was only like 6 episodes a season, I think it was.
Yeah, because I've only seen like that first season, which ended on kind of like a downer note for him.
I'm wrong, but because it's been like 4 or 5 years since I've watched it, so and my memory is short. But
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's a fantastic series. That one there.
Speaking of short, we do have a short little video here. Unless
now go for it.
Rob, your thing's black here.
Yeah, well, okay. I've already queued it up.
There we go. Okay.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, because Andre hasn't seen it yet, I present to you the trailer for CW's new hit series, Kung Fu High.
No sound, Rob. Boomer.
No sound? Fuck!
I knew it. You're going to have to take the whole thing off and start over. That's why I said just send it to me, but that's all right.
Hold on.
This is the beauty with live shows. Nothing works.
And you shouldn't say the title. That gives it away.
You
should just say the new show from CW.
Let's see. I gotta close VLC and come back to it. Hang on. Son of a monkey. Son of a monkey spanker.
This is why I told you to send it to me like a half hour.
I know. I was farting around with the dishwasher actually while you guys were. Dishwasher's not working well.
Oh, well, we all have our crosses to bear.
Well, yeah. Quick.
Anyway,
hold on. There we go. Kung Fu High and okay. All right. Let me see if we can share this again. Take 2. Share audio.
Now that you've ruined the whole thing, Rob, you ruined my birthday. No, I'm kidding.
Why isn't okay?
It's your birthday Sunday. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you. Why isn't it sharing this? Hold on.
Yeah, I said it already, but I'll say it again. Belated happy birthday. Although I did say it on time on the day.
Well, I just wanted to say it on the air.
We'll share my whole screen here. I just gotta make sure I'm not sharing porn.
I send him hooker money, so which is exactly what he asked. I said I sent you something, and he said a hooker, and I can't remember what else.
Share and
blow and a hooker, I think it was.
Here we go. Hopefully this will work now. All right, let's try it. Take 2.
I don't see a vocal thing, but no, you didn't do it right again, Rob.
I'm clicking share on. I'm share application window.
Are you clicking share audio?
There is no share audio tab on it. Let me see.
Then just you got to because it's probably. So I said send
share application. Son of a bitch, mother cocks. Yeah.
I have to deal with this every single day. But just even when
Hang
we're
on.
not live.
Yeah, just for fuck's sake. I'll just show. Oh, bored corgi. What a puss bag.
You're the
But
first one to get a board
just-
corgi besides the girls
just-
on Toxic Femme. You
Trust
should
me, it's hysterical.
Yeah. We'll have to take Rob's
You don't.
word for it, and I'm
He
sure he'll
usually has
show
a
up at
voice
some
meter
place.
up. You didn't bring voice meter up. That's why.
No, I don't have voice meter up.
That's why. Normally, that's where the sound comes from.
Yeah. Son of a
That's
bitch.
why I just send it to me, and I can just load it up here. But
All
anyway.
right. Well, just right here. Hang on, Tom. This with the new fancy schmancy internet. I could.
While
do-
Rob's messing with that, just to remind you guys, we got some cool T-shirts in our shirt store. The link should be in the description. We've got a Defund Hollywood shirt that guy looks so enthused to have on there. We got a Disco Suck shirt, and you can also get them in hoodies as well. On top of our lovely Toxic Femme shirt. Speaking of, there you go.
It's uploading.
Yeah, of course. You're way out. Yeah, we'll be lucky if we get this today. There was one other bit of news I wanted to talk to Andre about real quick. Speaking of Cobra Kai and all this stuff, we do have an answer now where the 2010 remake sets in the Cobra Kai universe.
Oh yeah, right.
It's delegated to a movie within the universe now. In other words, it's decanonized. It does not exist as a real movie anymore.
All right, there you go, Tom.
I don't even know where you sent it to.
I sent it to your email.
Oh, okay.
All right, just play it here. That's all.
Yeah. But yeah,
Anyway,
basically the way they said it, I think it was Hurwitz who answered the question. He's like, "Yeah, we mentioned Jackie Chan in the first season, so I guess if there's a movie called Karate Kid in this universe, that's that one."
It must be really weird for Daniel to see that movie. He must
I said
be
they
like,
got to do that in season 4. Have like somebody watching it in the background and being like, "What are you doing? Oh, watching the Karate Kid? Yeah, it's an all right movie, but I don't know why they called it the Karate Kid. Yeah, there's no there's no karate in it." That would be good. That would be hilarious if they did that. I would laugh all day long.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see here. Where is it? Here we go. All right, it's loading up now.
All right.
But other than that, there was that news, and then there was what else did we cover last night, Rob?
Willy Wonka's getting a sequel.
Oh yeah, the Wonka business, the prequel, the Wonka prequel.
But nobody cares.
That nobody fucking asked for, and that's what I said. That was what was wrong with the. Did you ever see the Johnny Depp one, Andre?
Yeah, I saw it. Honestly, I don't really have any strong feelings on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Willy Wonka in either direction. So, like, to me, like, that's not something that's like super iconic and can't be touched. I like the Burton movie fine. I like the songs in the original movie better. I like the parody in Family Guy best of all. So yeah, if you want to do like a new take on that, have at it.
Yeah, I have a feeling they're going to try and tie this to the Wilder one. If I have it,
Probably.
Pudding Tang 2 says Rob is a real life CW executive, incompetent but strangely still employed. It's funny you say that.
Coming to the CW, another series about teen romance that descends
Into ass-kicking action.
Miguel and Sam share tender moments talking about their feelings. And when Robbie finds out,
All hell breaks loose.
the CW presents a new kind of teen drama.
That will kick you in the balls. Coming this fall, it's Kung Fu High.
I'm telling you, we're talking like maybe 50 million viewers with a 60 share if that ever gets made.
Which is funny because that's just about what Cobra Kai has.
Oh yeah, no, that was nicely edited.
Yeah, well done.
Nicely edited.
I said the
Yeah.
only thing is that it could have kicked it up a little more is if I came in with the trucker voice during the karate bits,
Yeah.
Yep.
and added like a really deep, like you know.
Ass kicking action.
And on that note, Phil Chadwick wonders, where is that Ryan Johnston version of the Karate Kid on
Oh.
YouTube? I wish to share it. You know
I
what?
hate it.
Just it's going to come real soon on another Star Wars video. So
I'm gonna have a
it for
better
you
version,
soon.
but there is this version, I guess, for now. Would you teach me karate?
I don't believe in karate anymore. Leave me alone, Daniel-san. I want to die.
But yeah, I want to redo that. I'm not as happy with that one.
That's funny. That's great, though. Yeah, he asked for it. Ryan Johnson asked for it, every bit of it.
I think that's such a needs a tiny bit of work, but the punchline is just
That's
so,
for
so
me. Yeah,
good.
I'm my worst critic. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. I'm just gonna see if we are all caught up on super chats. I think we might be, and yeah, Cobra Kai really is awesome. So I look forward to seeing that continue. Well, by the way, you guys that follow that much more closely than me, when can we expect season 4?
They're actually supposed to start shooting this next month here.
Okay,
so
cool.
I'm assuming
Can
it'll
they
be-
do that?
Yeah, I think they've got the protocols in place. The beauty of it is they'll probably run it like Tyler Perry does his operation. They'll just get together, film it all at once, and get her done. I know Ralph Macchio's very OCD as it is, so I'm guaranteeing the production was already pretty clean.
Yeah.
If you get my drift. From what I've heard. So, yeah. But Dex Luther says Kung Fu High, sponsored by Power Thirst. When you have a powerful thirst, get Power Thirst. There you go.
Yeah. And with that, I do believe we have everything we need to covered for today.
Absolutely. All right. Again, please do check out Midnight's Edge After Dark. We have a live archive channel. That's where all these go after they're done. Check out our t-shirts at Mixed Tees. You can get one of these fine Toxic Femininity t-shirts. Unfortunately, you don't get the model with it. And I know Luke is very upset about that. But anyway, take care, everybody. And until Friday.
All right. Kit Kat says that there's an unread.
There's still an unread one? Okay.
Let me see. Thanks for pointing that out. Kit Kat said for $5, there are so many watching the original series, The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager in reruns now, who don't even know Junk Trek exists. They will be eventual fans for proper Trek. Yeah, sorry for missing that, but yeah, I hope so. I hope that more people will discover it, but I don't know. Like, what I'm thinking is that if they enjoy Discovery, if they genuinely enjoy that, why the hell would they enjoy proper Trek?
They won't, and that's the point we've made from the start. Is any new fans you're creating with any of these fucked up properties, they're not going to stick around and they're not going to consume the other stuff. So it's kind of defeating the purpose. Because that's kind of the point of getting these new fans on board, isn't it? Is so they consume the old stuff too, right? Because that's pure profit.
You would think so, because again, that is how you are able to monetize your existent catalog.
It's just like fast food. Yeah, you get them in the door with the Big Mac, but it's the fries and the soda that make you all the money. You know, it's the stuff you've had already that doesn't cost so much, the stuff that's pre-made, you know, and I don't understand that mentality. Why create a group of fans that would never watch the original series? It just makes no sense at all. So, yeah, I agree with that. And sorry for missing that. Hopefully we didn't miss any more super chats. I don't think we did.
No, I think we got them all. It's just that one was able to sneak in between somewhere. So, yeah.
So sorry about that. So yeah, until Friday, which we have, let's see here. We have Cameron Pasha joining us on Friday and maybe some other special guests. So tune in then. Till next time, take care of yourselves and each other.
Bye bye.